What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast episode 159. It is an excellent Saturday morning. It's been an incredible week for gaming, and we've got a great show for you here today with two first-time guests, which is just always fun. So before I do that, I'm your host, Ainsley Bowden. I've got Mr. Dan Rodriguez, who has no games. I know he's lying because he buys
none.
How you doing, man?
Absolutely none. I'm good. I had a bird shit on my head this morning.
Ooh, okay. Start your day off right.
Right. So I figured the rest of the day is only uphill.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's at all downhill, then I don't even know what's going to happen.
You know what? At least you look like us, though, because it's easier to clean.
Easy to clean.
Yeah.
Right. I thought it was a bug because it hit me here. Then it went to my neck, and I was like, what is happening here?
Ooh, what
and
a great feeling.
Yeah. Then I went like this, and I went, oh, no. As soon as I did, I didn't know what it was. So shout out to that bird. I'm just letting my dog go at you.
There you go.
Tough shit. Basically, is what I'm saying. Oh, hey,
That's incredible.
Fair enough.
They're delivering my dual sense. Perfect timing. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
What? One of the new colors?
Yeah, one of the black ones.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect timing. But anyway,
of course.
Moving over to our guest. So first, we've got Jordan. Our community knows him well from Backlog Chronicles. What is happening, my friend?
Not much, dude. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to come on. I know we've been kind of going back and forth as far as trying to arrange this. And now
you've been dodging us. Let's
I actually have 100%. No, it's good, man. Dan, if a bird shat on my head, we'd be in so much trouble. I got way too much hair on my head.
No, you're being free. Yeah. This is I can quickly shower it off, no problem, easy peasy. I'm not even thinking about it at this point.
Put your head in the sink.
Somebody help. Yeah. Let's just keep going.
I love it.
I got time for it.
We got so much good stuff to talk about today, though, man. I'm just so happy to be here. It's gonna be a good Saturday.
Yeah, man. So much excitement in the air right now, which obviously we're gonna get to. But before we do that, we've also got my friend, Mr. Steel Rain from Living Split Screen, and our brother Pong in the chat as well. What is happening, my friend?
It is I, and I am him, the one and only Steel Rain, one half of Living Split Screen, as Ains himself has said. Look, I'm just grateful to be within the Bitcast kingdom, and that the Rain has been allowed to sit at the table with some of the greats of the community, man. Y'all have represented the community very well since I have been in it for at least going into a year now. And man, I'm pumped to be here. We're going to have some fire topics to get into. E3 has been outstanding. And honestly, it was only outstanding for one particular reason. But with that being said, man, I'm grateful to be here. Glad you invited me on, and I'm ready to get into it, man.
Of course, man. Welcome. So I know you guys just wrapped up. So thank you for putting in the marathon today.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. But before we do that, first time guest. So before we get to what we're playing and then jump into the obvious topics, we're going to get into all the big games from Xbox, Bethesda. We'll talk Nintendo. We'll talk a few recaps of things like Elden Ring and whatnot.
Excellent.
So, but guys, this is for both of you. We always like to ask first time guests, get a tiny bit of little history, get to know you a little better. So on the spot, your favorite franchise of all time.
Jordan, I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. So favorite franchise, it's Halo. There's no question. There.
Good man.
There's no fucking question. There's absolutely no question there. Just a little bit of background there. It's like I was unlike you guys. I felt like I was asking my mom and dad to buy me drinks. Because I was only 12 years old.
You're young, Jordan. Okay?
I was like 12 years old when Halo came out.
Don't get me started.
And I played the hell out of it. I remember going through that campaign with my brother. I was just like, I was totally floored by it at the time. And that is really what sparked my love for gaming. Yeah, I played, a little bit of Super Nintendo and 64, but I wasn't really old enough to truly appreciate some of those things. But man, Halo's the GOAT. No doubt.
That's awesome.
No doubt.
That's awesome. Rain, where you at, man? And yes, Diego, I'm not answering your DMs. I'm a little busy at the moment. All right? Damn.
Yeah, thanks, Diego. Gosh, you're trying to do things live right now, man. But no, that's funny, Jordan, that you say that, because I didn't want to be the only one to say it, but I'm gonna have to go with Halo also.
My boy.
I brought the right crew today. I brought the right crew.
GOAT. Halo is the GOAT, man. There's a reason that when I watched that trailer from E3, that it still invokes feelings within me that I just cannot deny. It's kind of like when you see that hot girl or whatever, you want to go talk to her. I still get those same butterflies from Halo. I played Halo competitively. I have thousands of hours within every Halo game that is from Halo 1. I mean, from 2001 on forward, Jordan, I'm actually younger than you. I'm 28 myself, turning 29 this year.
All right.
But I've been online gaming since about 98. So PC gaming is definitely within me. Xbox gaming has, I've been there at the beginning of it all. And it kind of started me down this whole competitive path that I've kind of been in multiplayer gamer that I've turned into officially. So, hey man, that's what I would have to start with though.
Love it, man. Love it. I did not realize that you were that into Halo, Rain. So
I
think we should just turn this into a Halo cast. Let's just go ahead and do it.
Hey, I keep thinking, like, every time that I have these conversations about Halo with people, that I try to prevent myself from going too deep, because there's like side stories, like people like to talk about Locke and stuff. And I'm like, yo, y'all just do not understand who Locke really is. Team Osiris, the missed opportunity with Buck.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so much you can go into with any of that, but I don't want to get us off track. So
yeah, no doubt. We'll have to do that. So your passion for Halo is coming through. I am putting together a Halo roundtable in all seriousness to talk about Halo Infinite and everything we've seen so far and the possibilities. If you want to be a part of it, just hit me up.
I'm here.
We're going to be doing it in the next 2 weeks.
I'll tell you right now, I'm here for it.
Okay.
I'm 100% here for it. I'm telling you, when Halo Infinite drops, nothing else exists to me. Even when Elden Ring drops, once Halo drops, that's it. That's until I become the top of the leaderboard, reach top rank, or whatever the case might be. I'm not coming away from it. So,
it sounds like we got another teammate, Jordan.
I think it does. Yeah.
Luckily, Dan has changed his name to admit what he's known all along, which is fantastic.
That is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. In my life. Don't make me, change it again.
Yeah, I know. But chat, what's going on? Good to see everyone. Thanks for coming out. Guys, give me your favorite platform then. You're both younger. You're on season gaming. I'm not quite sure why now, knowing both of your ages, but you didn't experience, like Jordan, you said, you didn't fully experience Super Nintendo, the 16-bit era, right? Obviously the 8-bit era. But what's your favorite platform growing up, guys, for both of you? Like, what one did you think you played the most?
Yeah, I would probably say N64.
Okay.
I played, I have such a love for Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes.
Legend of Zelda, 3D Zelda, man. Majora's Mask, changed my life. That is my favorite Zelda game.
Okay.
By far. Like I said, at the time also, I couldn't really appreciate a lot of the writing and how they crafted that game. But I did everything I could in those games. Like, I completed it through and through. But looking back and playing them again now, that game was so far ahead of its time. And it's I don't know. I'll never forget that game, to be honest. Yeah, so I would say N64 really stuck with me. Like I said, Super Mario 64, Star Fox 64. Played a lot of those too. But yeah, I would have to say that N64 was my favorite console.
Got you. Rain, where you at, man?
If we're gonna go with the console that we played the most, just because I'm young doesn't mean I don't have time. I don't have time for everything else. Sonic is still one of my more iconic heroes. I like Sonic more than I like Mario personally. I don't blame you. I'm
a Sega guy, so
right there with you. But if I'm gonna have a pick a system just based off of how much I played it, I'm probably going to go with the 360. Okay. Mainly because going from Xbox into the 360, it really set the stage for as far as what competitive gaming was really about. Sure, you had that experience on PC, but to see it finally come to console and then bring attention to it, I feel like MLG wouldn't be where it's at today if it wasn't necessarily for console gaming. Getting the attention to it with games like Gears of War, another series that I have no less than a year within every game, you know what I mean, as far as playtime goes, or Halo carrying over that mantle into the 360. Halo 2 was such an impactful experience across the world. People every time people try to downplay Halo, it's like, I don't think y'all understand the impact Halo has had on FPS shooters overall.
It has set the stage so many times. Preach.
Call of Duty wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for Halo.
Yeah.
Battlefield wouldn't have taken to where it is today if it wasn't for Halo. There's so many things that Halo has introduced, not just it being a space shooter or whatever the case might be, or being able to tell an excellent story, but it was able to bring competitive gaming to that next level, to the point where, I was so heavily involved in it that my parents still didn't believe in it. But again, just seeing it where it's at now, people are making millions of dollars off these tournaments now, and it's a prevalent thing. Everybody's trying to get into it. So
yeah,
I would say
I think we won't stay on Halo, I promise. All jokes aside, but I think Infinite is definitely gonna, reignite all that kind of passion and massive love. So we'll get to that in a bit. But that's fantastic, man. I think great choices there. Jordan, you play a lot of GoldenEye. Were you into GoldenEye prior to the Halo era?
No, actually, I didn't play a lot of the shooters on there. I did play Turok.
Great game.
Mostly Seeds of Evil. I didn't really play the first one too much, but Turok 2 I played a lot. And it was so funny because I think it probably just goes to my little child brain, not really wrapping my head around how do I navigate these areas. I played all of Turok 2 with all the cheat codes on. That's all I ever did. All the weapons and just
what was that weapon in Turok 2 that you drill into their brain?
Cerebral bore.
There it is.
Bore.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
this is awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that N64 gen was amazing, man. They did so many great things with that. With that gen, bro. Like you said, Majora's Mask, for me, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are still the top 2 Zelda games of all time. Just for me personally, they set the stage for those action adventure platforming type games, where I don't think we would be at where we're at today with a lot of games if it wasn't for them. So
sure.
The funny thing about Turok 1, 2, Turok, the original, was it literally has a training mode to show you how to navigate the environment, because that's when 3D was really just starting, and you didn't really have the dual thumbsticks at the time, because even though the PS1 was out, people forget the original PlayStation controller didn't have thumbsticks. It was just a D-pad.
True.
So definitely different, man. But well, cool guys, man. It's great to have you here. So what do we? Let's get to current times, man. What do you guys? Oh, I forgot one thing I just saw in the chat is. That Mama Rocks is in the chat, so big shout out to her. Everyone please congratulate her for we chatted this week a bit, and she is now our official community manager. So awesome. Super excited to have her aboard and talking with the rest of the crew. She may do some writing for us as well, and she's just a great person. So definitely give her congrats, and look forward to seeing her more involved with season gaming stuff going forward. So very cool. All right, man. So what have you guys been currently playing? I know there's, it's starting to kind of ramp up. There's a whole bunch of different games out there. Ratchet's obviously out, and a lot of people playing that. Chivalry 2 is wild. Playing that, and we got the Metro Exodus, next gen or whatever updated patch you want to call it. Just Dark Alliance comes out in a couple days. There's a demo up for it. So what have you guys been up to, man?
Yeah, Rain, go ahead. You go first this time, brother.
For me personally, I've been investing myself into Biomutant. As much as people try to downplay that game, I feel like for it to be a small team and what they accomplished with the game, I am so dumbfounded at the beauty of it. The game, at first, it was kind of. I'm not necessarily going to say that it was jarring or whatever the case might be, because I understand how people feel about the announcer or whatever the case. I do feel like he is overused. I do feel that they could have done a lot better with having more voices in there, just to add depth to the story, so you're not hearing the same guy over and over again. But I also don't personally mind it, because it still adds that attitude to the game, and you have an understanding with the character speaking gibberish and it being kind of translated to you. It still gives you that story aspect. And other than that, the combat and the overall gameplay, the ability to adventure to anywhere you basically want to go, the open world space is amazing to me. To be a furry and just expand into this world, it's been such an amazing time. I'm probably about 15 hours or so in. I haven't had a lot of time to really jump into it the way that I've wanted to, because it's one of those games for me, like, when I get into these games, I like to spend time within these worlds. And I'm not just talking 2-3 hours. I want to spend 4 to 6 hours really grinding it out and getting my full experience in. But other than that, I've been kind of recently been heavily invested in the Guilty Gear Strive, because as a fighting game, and as an Archworks fan, I'm a heavy fan of BlazBlue. I'm a fighting fan overall, but I've never taken them super serious. Guilty Gear Strive has been able to do some things where you don't have to take it completely serious. They have an awesome rank system to where you have this tower system set up, and they actually rank you per match that you do if you go online. So, and the way that the tower system is set up is every level that you go up, you can't go back down unless you start doing bad. So it's completely, you can't just go in there and start whooping up on people that may not be as good as you. You know what I mean? So it keeps that balance there, it keeps the competitive nature of it there. And not only that, but Archworks does such an excellent job with the net coding in their fighting games that the online experience has been amazing. So for a game that I could just hop into, play for a couple hours before I hop off, it's been an excellent experience for me so far. But that's what I've been up to here recently. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I know Elu, who writes for SG, was really looking forward to Guilty Gear too. I haven't talked to him about it yet, but sounds like it's good, so that's awesome.
Oh, and by the way, I also want to say that Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I finished that up. I want to say I think it was last week or the week before that. Amazing. It was my first time through the whole Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh, great.
And I'm still going to tell you, because a lot of people have changed sides and said Mass Effect 3 is the GOAT now. I think it's the better game. No, Mass Effect 2 is the better game overall. I don't see how y'all giving it to 3 overall. Like 3 was coming from 2 to 3. It was so jarring, and it wasn't as interesting as 2 was. Like I was so much more invested in the Mass Effect 2 as far as like the character building and just the overall gameplay and how it introduced you to everything. Was definitely better than 1, even though that story can't be ignored, but it just hit harder than 3 for me personally, even though people say 3 was good. But
yeah, it was funny. I was just talking to Rand about that because we were having a joke about, as people play through this again, it'll be interesting to see if they think 3 is the best. And some people have, but I know a lot of people are sticking with 2.
2 is definitely the GOAT.
Yeah. Dan, you got Dan invested for a second. I think we'll go back to Halo. We'll stay off of Mass Effect.
Hey, it's fresh on the mind right now. I'm ready.
That is awesome.
Jordan, what you been up to, man?
Yeah, man. So 2 days ago, I wrapped up Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Okay. Yeah, man.
That was a really
you played it pretty quick then, because I remember when we were talking about it a couple days ago, I was ahead of you, and I haven't gone back to it yet.
Yeah, man, that's the perks of being off for 4 days in a row. But dude, just nonstop set pieces in that game, and I was really impressed by it. It reminded me a lot of the feeling I had when I was playing It Takes Two, because that was just like just spectacle after spectacle. So I can definitely see Ratchet and Clank being up there for Game of the Year. After finishing that, maybe not my Game of the Year. After finishing that, though, I did start up Metro Exodus on PlayStation 5.
Yep.
Dude, freaking incredible. I played the game already previously on my 1X when it was on Game Pass, and seeing these upgrades now and with the DualSense integration, dude, the DualSense is freaking awesome. I can't gush over it enough, and this is someone that thought it was just going to be gimmicky, but the way they brought it into the game, like if anyone's ever not played Metro Exodus, first of all, it's one of the most immersive games you could ever play. Like the shooting mechanics are very visceral. You have to maintain your weapons. They can jam on you. You have to be very aware of what's going on in the environment around you. But when you have this battery pack, right, and you charge it with this dynamo motor, so when you're pulling the trigger, you feel the resistance as if you were cranking a hand crank. Hand crank motor. And the same thing with the pneumatic rifle that you have also. It's like you're pumping a super soaker. but way more lethal. But yeah, it's a visual spectacle. The ray tracing looks good, but the 4K 60 is where it's at for me. It's so fluid. It really enhances the game overall. So don't sleep on that.
60 FPS, man. That goodness.
Yeah, no doubt. I just started playing it again this morning. I only played it briefly when it first came out. Got one of those weird glitches that like stopped your progress. Remember, it had some weird bugs right when it launched originally, and I never went back to it. So picked it up, and I'm playing it as well. I always get stuck on shooters because the difference between PS5 and Series X on a lot of these games is pretty minimal. Yeah, and it's like when they talk about DualSense, like you're talking about, it's like, man, I really want the DualSense features. but I really want to play it with my Elite, because I
Mhm.
far prefer the
Yes.
triggers and the
Amen.
thumbsticks on the Xbox
Amen.
controller. And it's like I need them to come together, man. Just
know.
meld those two things
I
together. So
know.
we can have the perfect controller.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Oh, another thing. Have you noticed the loads are ridiculously fast?
Yeah.
So fast.
It is insane. Like from a checkpoint, if you die, it's like on average, I get it under 7 seconds just to get back in the
That's
game.
what this generation's about, man.
Yeah, man.
telling
Such
you.
an improvement. Such an improvement.
We kind of joke about that all the time. It's like you see the hot takes of like, man, I really don't feel like this generation's been anything special so far. And I'm like, then plug your 1X in, go back to your 1X and just live with it then.
Yeah,
You don't see anyone wanting to do that because you've gotten too used to how fast and quick and responsive everything is now.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind all the 60 frames like we talked
about. That's a fact. I mean, that's one thing that I've always been trying to preach to people. It's like, I mean, y'all can, sit here and be comfortable with 30 FPS all you want to, but once you experience 60 FPS and get the actual feel for your games, because that's the biggest difference for me that I've been promoting. This generation is about the feeling of your games, not just your game looking amazing. You know what I mean? Because that's how you get that the better attachment to it. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Right. Ratchet's a perfect example. I lasted all of like 30 seconds in the quality mode on Wretch and Clank because it's gorgeous. But as soon as I turned the camera, I was like, nope. I'm going straight to
You could tell. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But people try to say, oh, I can't really tell. No, don't. You're lying. You could tell. You could tell.
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
Dan. Shout out to Mo.
Mo's still he's pushing forward with quality mode. I don't know how.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I don't know. Maybe he's just doing it in photo mode. I don't know.
I finished Wretch and Clank this morning.
Nice.
And that game, I've never seen a game that has so much going on at one time on a screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, what the hell's happening? I mean, as fast as you can move, it's just insane. And it was really fun. It was, it wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't like one, like I played the last one just recently, and this one is so much better. But it wasn't like beat you over the face with, next gen stuff. Like it was so subtle, and like everything. I played in performance ray tracing mode, and it just looked amazing. Like I switched. You can switch. As you collect different things, you can switch stuff up, and like you can switch like the little bolts and stuff into like cans of pop or something.
I made them the Sunset Overdrive cans. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and oh, that's right. Yeah, that's what those were. Yeah. That's how much I know about Sunset Overdrive. Anyway, but you can change them all, and those look amazing. Like just every little thing does. So it's really cool. It's probably up there for Game of the Year for me. But I've also been playing my current Game of the Year, Hitman 3. They keep releasing more stuff. It's not like I don't have to sit there and like go at it for a long time. I can kind of go in for a few hours and get the elusive targets. Do the new DLC that they released, the Season of Greed, which I think they've been doing a pretty good job with. They just released Sloth, which is different for sure. But they're adding different mechanics for each one of them, and it's pretty cool. So I've been playing that. It's just been a lot of jumping around on the PlayStation because I just don't feel like going and turning on another console. Like the only reason I turned my Xbox on this week was for Tunic, played it, and then I went basically back to the PlayStation, played that, Judgment. I don't know, for some reason I went back to Spider-Man for a little bit and also Ghost of Tsushima.
Now you're all over the place.
Yeah, I'm like so all over the place. And Metro Exodus. I also have that on the PlayStation for some reason. I didn't realize that. I do. I must have bought it for super cheap at one point. So I started playing that too yesterday. And it looks amazing. It's amazing. The DualSense, like you said, Jordan, it really kind of changed it up a little bit, which is kind of nice. But I mean, I remember playing through that and like it was super, super interesting. But like the very beginning, man, it was slow as hell. And it's still slow as hell.
It is. So I just got to where it starts to open up now. And I'm like, thank God, because I was getting a little annoyed already. But I hear it gets really, really good. So I'm trying to push through.
Yes.
It does. But yeah, I mean, that's is what it is. But that's basically what I've been playing. It's just jumping back and forth from older games that have gotten updates, and then playing some newer ones. So it's been, and we there hasn't been a shortage.
There's
Scarlet Nexus comes out next week, so
man,
I'm ready for that one too. So
Jesus, I didn't realize it was next week already.
Yeah, next Friday it's ready. I'm ready.
Oh man,
excellent game.
Man, so Jordan, you all good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm good. It just reset on me for some reason. No warning, but it is what it is.
So I see Dano, Boogeyman, Kev, what's going on? Game Filter, what's going on, guys? Thanks for hopping in. All right, guys. So let's get to real quick before I move forward. Chivalry. Chivalry 2, man. If you haven't checked this game out and you want just an absurd, fun, big battle chaos game, check this game out. It's ridiculous. I keep telling people I'm calling it like Battlefield 1132 because it's like 64 players, everyone swinging swords and axes and stuff all over the place. There's the limbs flying about. You can kill your own teammates and you usually do because you're swinging big axes in groups of like 10 people. It's just hilarious, man. It's a lot of fun. It's like a $40 game, so it's not even a $60 or $70 game. If you want something just to goof off with your friends, man, definitely check it out because it's a lot of fun.
Is it like the first one a lot, or did you?
I didn't play the first one, so I don't know.
Okay. I played the first one. I mean, it sounds very similar. But,
yeah, and it runs well. Like, you never know with the kind of smaller AA developer if it's big game, but I mean, 64 players. There's no hiccups. Everyone gets in. I haven't had any problem playing. Tons of stuff to unlock, different classes. They've got a roadmap they released yesterday, which shows like new maps and modes and all for free. So it's cool, man.
It's amazing.
It's very cool.
So that's good. That's all
right, guys, let's get into the big topics here because we've got a lot to go through, especially the Xbox conference. There's so much to cover. I tried talking about it yesterday, and it's like you have to cut it short because there's just too much to talk about. So before we jump to Xbox Bethesda, though, Summer Game Fest and Ubisoft, like I said, we kind of talked about last week, but let me get your guys' thoughts on Jeff Keighley's conference, right? Which we kind of said was, we said it was mediocre at best, with two kind of standouts, which were really just Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and obviously Elden Ring, right?
Delicious.
Yeah. Well, we can turn this into an Elden Ring / Halo podcast and just drive Dan right out of the country at this point. But what do you guys think about what Keighley put together? Hour and a half show about that, hour 40 minutes, something like that. Where were you on this conference? Rain, I'll start with you, man.
For me personally, like you said, I have to agree with y'all. The show was mediocre. I'm all about the representation for us as gamers, and constantly these shows coming out feeling like they're so disconnected from who we are as gamers and not really representing the games well. Just doesn't come across great. Again, we see pacing really matters, right?
Yes.
And Xbox showed you that that's extremely relevant. PlayStation has done it in the past. Xbox has carried that mantle forward, and now it's kind of showed you this is how it needs to be done going forward. Give you the game straight up, hit after hit, and then a few days later, now let's have a breakdown. At least then you get the bulk of your information out, and then those who want more information can catch up on it on the back end. The main standout for me, I would agree with you. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is great. Looked all right. I'm not a Borderlands fan myself, but I understand the hype behind it. My brother was heavily invested in Borderlands 2, but he also said Borderlands 3 wasn't all that great for him. It didn't give him everything that Borderlands 2 had, and I mean, as far as that aspect goes of it, I understand. But I understand why people why they love that series. For me, as a Souls fan and someone who loves hardcore games and games that kind of just tell you get good.
You are speaking my language today, Rain. You are speaking my language.
Elden Ring brought me so much excitement at the end of that show. Mind you, because I feel like that's might be part more of the Xbox conference talk, but because we kind of see it, I don't feel like them talking about the fridge at the end of the conference is what they wanted to have there. I felt like Elden Ring was supposed to be in that slot, and they just kind of used it to kind of play off of the fridge and everything, because they said they were going to put that out anyway. But just to bring it back to Elden Ring, just to see the expansive world and to see FromSoft really take everything that they have learned from all the Souls series game, whether it be Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3, and so on and so forth, Bloodborne, and Sekiro, and seeing that kind of all be implemented into this game, it being open world. Now we have mounts per se, as that want to call it, more magic abilities it seems to come across as. And I always The only thing that FromSoft kind of falls short is on the story aspect, because they make you search for it. Like you really have to pay attention. And I feel like with this time, with them teaming up with George R.R. Martin, we're hearing that the story has been done a couple years ago now. So that's out of the way. I know that was a concern for some people. We know how he does with stories. He never wants to finish them. So hopefully that's come together very well. So I'm looking forward into that. But just to be as a Souls player and seeing Elden Ring finally be brought out, I'm excited for it. Whether it's cross-gen or whatever the case might be, then none of that is all that's irrelevant to me. I want people to be able to experience what Souls is, what Souls-like games are. The 4-player co-op, being able to bring more people into the experience is only going to be that much greater for the series. And people downplay it a lot. They say, "Oh, Souls is niche," and it is, but at the same time, they also underestimate the fan base that the Souls type games have. But Summer Games Fest, that was the highlight for me for that.
Your last point there about underestimating, we joked about that last week because I said the same thing on the show. And you know what the #1 view trailer was from this week? Elden Ring.
Yep. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People definitely underestimate how big that game is going to be. No doubt.
Facts.
No doubt. Jordan, Machine Gun Mike in the house. Mo with Super Chat. All these Backlog Chronicles guys are here. Happy Saturday, boys. Cheers to you, Dan's Nips, and everyone else in the chat watching. Jordan, my fucking son. Thank you, brother. Always appreciate it.
Is that what MFS is?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yes, it is.
It's so out of touch.
We just started.
It's a Moism.
Okay, that's okay. So it's not like widely known.
Correct.
Acronym. Okay,
correct.
I don't think so.
Correct. It'll catch on though. Don't worry.
We need to hashtag it.
All right, Jordan, MFS.
Yeah,
what do you
man.
think about Summer Game Fest, man?
Summer Game Fest to me is just kind of like, it's there. It's something to watch. Like last year was really underwhelming for me. And then this year I didn't really know what to expect. I was on vacation essentially when it happened. So I was just kind of like, I'll tune in when it's over. And kind of, coming to it late, I was like, okay, I didn't really miss much. But again, the reveals for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and Elden Ring, again, those are the big standouts. 100%. That's really all you really needed to see. Like the Overwatch stuff was like, is that necessary?
Well, you got some live music. Did that?
Oh yeah, that's true. Weezer. No. Yeah. My excitement for Elden Ring cannot be overstated. It's like back to your point, Rain. Like trying to for FromSoft to build upon everything that they've done with their previous games. It seems like it's at that right now.
Yeah.
The whole approach to making things more accessible in terms of the co-op or whatnot. Yeah, I think that's a good thing, because Ains and I, we got a lot of friends that suck at these games and hate these games, but they want to experience them. So if you can bring someone in, take them under your wing and Sherpa them through all these fights, and maybe they'll understand, because it took me playing the very first Dark Souls. I rented it and returned it 4 times before I finally got hooked by it. I was like, forget this game. This is stupid. Why am I playing this? Yeah. And then when I finally beat, it wasn't the Asylum Demon. It was the second boss on that wall. I can't remember his name. But that's when I was like, okay, I'm in. So since then I've been a FromSoft fan. And Elden Ring is going to freaking bring it.
Yeah,
it's going to bring it.
It just looks incredible. And I think there was some article. I think it was probably Kotaku, because it was bullshit, so it probably lines up. Sure. But saying that the game, they said it's going to be easier, and it's like that's not what they said. That's not what they said.
No, not at all.
They said that, because of the followers you can have now, which are upgradable, which sounds really cool. Yeah. Obviously the expanded co-op and things, there's crafting as well in this game. It's going to be more accessible, to your point, Jordan. They never said it was going to be easier. Yeah. It drives me crazy when people take leaps like that.
And I'm kind of hoping, going back to George R.R. Martin being involved too, I'm wondering to see how that's going to tie into a narrative, because like you said, Rain, like I never really dug too much into the lore of the Souls games, because I've mostly just been just a huge fan of the combat and just the enemy design. I get lost in that, and that's good enough for me. I don't really read a lot of the text there too on the weapons, so maybe lose something different. But that's kind of what I liked about Sekiro, because that was the narrative was right there in your face. You knew what was going on. You didn't have to really search for much of it. So yeah, maybe that'll translate. I don't know.
Yeah, and of course, always shout out, right? If you want to learn about Souls and especially the intricacies of the lore, which does get very deep, Vadivod Vidya is #1 on YouTube. He's the guy to listen to. Like I said, Bandai Namco themselves comment on his posts. And then I always shout out RKG. RKG is a group of guys that formerly at IGN who do Let's Plays through all the Souls games. They got famous for it, started their own company. But they're just hilarious because it's fun to watch them play through because they're funny as hell. But the one guy like knows all the lore and he actually talks through it as you go. So you can really learn about the game too. So if you ever actually want to check them out, those are the two things to know.
Yeah.
All right. Ubisoft, we can be real quick on. We covered it last week. We were kind of watching that show as a disappointment. It's like you spent 25 minutes on one game in Rainbow Six Extraction. Then you spent 10 minutes on Rocksmith, which you talk about niche games. That's one. Not to downplay it. It's a very cool idea, very cool game. But and then you end with Avatar, which, again, cool surprise. Neat to see it. But was now the time, considering Avatar is not in anyone's mind at the moment. Until those movies come back. So I don't know, anything that jumps out for you on Ubisoft, guys, or should we just move on?
I think we can move on, but Riders Republic, that's about it.
Yeah, Riders Republic, I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, for me personally, it was interesting to see Rainbow Six Extraction, just mainly because of how popular that whole Rainbow kind of series has been, especially with Siege. The only problem that I had with it is that it seemed just like a skin on top of Siege, which is, I mean, it is what it is. Apparently it was a game mode that was introduced into Siege that they turned into an entire game. And to see that concept, it has some things that are cool about it, but at the same times, I made a lot of comments during the show when we watched it live that they took elements from like Gears as far as like some of the monsters, like when you were listening to like the Berserker, like the main big enemy that they
I said that while
like
we were
the
watching
Berserker.
it live.
I was like,
Berserker.
So now you're just stealing enemies from other games, and they call them aliens. Like, what are we doing? Is this Gears and Rainbow Six?
Yeah.
But that it was intriguing. But if anything, I guess it saved their show along with Riders Republic, as y'all said, and then to see Valhalla to kind of get that constant update or continuing to live, kind of being turned into like a service. I mean, we've seen this with the other Assassin's Creed games, but it was just one of those things where I wasn't necessarily expecting it. I was expecting for them to announce another Assassin's Creed game or what they're working on next or whatever the case might be. But just to see that they're actually trying to take it a step further and everything and actually evolve that world more. I don't know how much more you can evolve the world after 100 hours of me doing everything else in the world and still not being close to being done with the game. Maybe 3/4 of the way, it lost me. I had to put it down for a bit and pick up something else. But yeah, we can definitely move on from Ubisoft after that.
Yeah, Dan, I think you're talking Dan's language about having to put down Valhalla because it just became too much. And it would have been one thing if I would have focused on the story, but when you get into those worlds, you want to do everything. You want your character to look a certain way. You want the weapons. You want the armor, and then you get lost, and then. Like for me, 110 hours later, where am I at in the story? And it just doesn't tie together very well, right?
No, it doesn't. Yeah. No, it's monotonous. Like that's the other thing about it. It's one thing to do it. I know a lot of people have that Assassin's Creed gameplay loop. Here we go, open world gameplay loop. And Ubisoft just constantly just goes back to it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And enough people don't complain about it because again, Assassin's Creed Valhalla sold really well. So
it's true.
7.
If you're not aware, Dan infamously gave it a 7. That's our rutted joke here. Mariano Pampa in the house as always. No Evil Dead love. Actually, that's a good shout out, Pampa. That's a good shout out. Let me throw that up in a second. But love you guys. Hope everyone has a great Saturday. Hit that like button. Jordan is a treasure. Agreed. # more Halo talk. Oh, it's coming.
There you go.
It's coming. Appreciate it, Pampa. And yes, I did forget that Evil Dead was just before Elden Ring. And, obviously that's more of a niche audience. But Evil Dead's been one of those kind of movie franchises that me and my wife have just loved forever. And I thought the game showed pretty well for what it is, right? This is not some big blockbuster AAA game. But for what it was, it had a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of fun little tidbits. They showed some Army of Darkness stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I'm in on that for sure.
100%.
So. All right, guys, let's get to it because there is a whole lot to cover here. Let's talk Xbox Bethesda. And I think it's fair to say now that, we previewed it last week, Dan, and we kind of had so many different opinions and a big panel to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And the show hit. And I know Jordan and I were in a party chat together with some other guys. Dan, you were DMing me about it. And I think, pretty much everyone is in agreement, and anyone can feel free to speak up. But feels like even the entire community, even the industry is in agreement that Xbox and Bethesda pretty much stole the show. Of E3. Like without their conference, E3 would have been a pretty lackluster affair.
The bar was super low, to be fair, but they still crushed it. Yeah, like that, and I'm mostly critical of Xbox and Nintendo because they are very important to me. I've got a lot of investment in them personally. Monetarily, there's a lot going into it, so I'm always very, very critical of these shows. And I think I sent it to you. I said, this is what they needed to do. Just throw the games out there, let people see, generally what they are. Just some trailers, could be gameplay, could be whatever, and then later on come back with some developer deep dives. And I didn't realize that's what they were actually doing with the extended conference, because they had a better look into stuff. A little bit with that stuff. So I mean, I think they did a great job. So I mean, then Nintendo came out and that made them look even worse, based on and that they didn't need that help. So
well, we kind of joked that you said it right at the start that Xbox, the bar had been set so low. It was like, well, now it's the time more than ever for Xbox to just come out and crush it because they'll get the attention for it. Which I think has happened, right? Yeah. I mean, the attention for Xbox in the conference and their games has blown up this week. So they kick off, we'll kind of go through it a little bit. We're not going to go every single game because it would take too long, but we'll kick off some key moments here. So they, we joked about whenever they show Starfield, Todd Howard's going to have to be out there because that's what he does, right? That's the man. And he just walked out right at the start and kicked the conference off, which I didn't think they would do. I actually said last week they won't do that, so I was wrong on that one.
I was wrong too.
But I thought it was good because we'll get to it later, of course. But what they did was basically front cap, end cap their show with Bethesda, with IPs. So Starfield came out. Todd talked about how it's their first franchise. He made it very, very clear that this is the first new game world they're creating with his team in 25 years. And then they showed a trailer, which, didn't show a lot of gameplay, anything like that, but it was a beautiful trailer. Definitely set the tone for kind of a sci-fi. It backed up what he said, right? New sci-fi world, exploration, mystery, all these things. And most interesting, of course, is that there's still people talking about how this was a CGI trailer when it literally says right at the start of it, in-engine trailer in Creation Engine 2, which is their new engine, their updated Bethesda engine for these games. And if you didn't know, Aaron Greenberg and Pete Hines did a Twitter Spaces chat yesterday where they actually joked about people calling it CGI. And Pete said he had talked to Todd Howard, and it's an in-engine trailer with all in-game assets. And so I think what they're showcasing now, of course, it's probably the peak, right? This is your high end. But if you go back and watch that and just think about the fact that this is what their new engine is creating, and those are in-game assets, it is incredibly impressive.
Yeah. I still don't know what the hell it is, right? But that's my only negative. I still don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah, like I said, you don't get gameplay, you don't get details on any of the systems at play, but I think they set up the kind of notion of adventure well.
Yeah. So we'll see what it is. That's what I'm most excited about. Just the potential of what this could be. I guess I really wanted more information on it, but I'll take what I can get. And,
I did too, but now that we know it's launching not till November of next year,
right? Yeah,
we got kind of crazy, right? We got a year and a half. So next E3 will be probably the 10-minute gameplay.
Do it before that.
Look like he's done previously, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, even when you hear stuff like, "Oh, it's like Fallout in space," or "It's like a Han Solo simulator," those kind of things excite you, man. Like you have this anticipation for what the game could really be. So, I mean, and again, from what I've seen everything that Todd Howard himself has had hands on has been spoken on for at least the next decade. So we'll see.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about the at least what the kind of experience we could get from it. Like the last Bethesda developed game that I really enjoyed was Fallout 3. I wasn't the biggest fan of 4. Skyrim, yeah, I play the hell out of Skyrim, but like, mostly just for the experience. I think the space setting and everything kind of really intrigues me more than a fantasy setting. Not that I don't love fantasy games. I mean, Witcher 2, GOAT. Yeah, maybe we'll get a different tone kind of game. Like you said, there's a lot of cynicism in the Fallout games. There's a lot of kind of parody almost. So I wonder what this will be like when they say like Discovery and Han Solo Simulator, all that. But yeah, not enough shown to really infer anything. But yeah, we got some time for it to cook in the oven still.
No doubt. And what someone was talking about, what it's going to be like kind of traveling, because they said you could travel to different worlds. And what I was envisioning, and I hope it's this way, is how in open world games, just think your biggest, right? Whether it be Skyrim, Horizon, Witcher, etc. As you kind of explore the world map, right? There's different biomes. It's like, okay, you've got your snowy biome and your desert and, all these different things. And it would be really, really interesting to me if they're capable of in Starfield, when you travel to worlds, the worlds are unique, right?
Sure.
And they're kind of like just full game worlds built around biomes rather than just an area. No Man's Sky dabbles in that, but it's very, very surface level because it's procedurally generated, right? So whereas this has the opportunity to really be fully fleshed out, and that would be simply incredible.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. Like I feel like if we were back in like the early 2000s, it'd be like a 7-disc game.
Right, exactly.
If they can pull that off and basically, make each one of those worlds, a pretty
feel
big,
unique, right?
Yeah, feel unique, be a pretty decent sized open world. I mean, imagine.
Cool.
I mean, craziness.
Yeah. Kind of like Mass Effect on 10, right? That's one of the main things that I noticed about the first Mass Effect, right? Is that these worlds, you go to these different planets or whatever the case might be, and there's a lot of them, but they're barren.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. It doesn't make you. There's different color palettes, and this planet might have lava. Oh, this one got ice. Oh, this one's a little more greener than the other one. But other than that, it's like there's no real life to them. I mean, again, it could have been just because of the time or whatever the case. But if that's going to be something like that, taking that adventure to that next level, I mean, I understand why people are hyped, man.
Yeah. And I mean, they did clearly say, Todd himself said that, they've been waiting on the technology to build this game. It's a vision they've had for over a decade. So yeah, you can imagine it. And by the way, Dan, if they make a 7-disc version of it, I'm in. I'm buying it.
Oh yes,
300 gigs.
Yeah, that's what I was missing on Mass Effect. I think 3 when I was playing through it, I was like, "Oh, I don't have to change discs once I get to
you remember that?
this part of the
When
game."
You had to change this mid-game.
Yeah, I was waiting for it for some reason. I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to have to change." Wait a minute, no,
the glory days.
No doubt. So we're gonna jump around a little bit here in games, but then they end capped with, and I did get this one right. They end capped with new IP. We now, the Project Omen was the rumor, of course, but we now know it's called Redfall. This is the new game from Arcane Austin, one of my absolute favorite studios. The games they make are incredible. Coming next year, summer of next year. It's a single player or up to 4-player co-op. It takes place on an island, we now know, and they did specifically say you can go through this entire island, in Arcane style, which if you think of Prey, you think of Dishonored. Excites the living hell out of me. The characters really look cool. The character designs look amazing. You look abilities, you got vampires. There's a lot going on here. Obviously, again, not gameplay, but I think they did a better job, say, than Starfield, right? Of kind of showing what you can expect from the game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they give us more details later, like I just described. So this game immediately jumps to the top of, it's not Elden Ring or Halo, but it's close. It's up there. Oh, yeah. Definitely one of my most anticipated. And Arcane, I mean, just look at their track history. The games they create are phenomenal. They're unique, new, and phenomenal. And they do some great world building. So this has me just incredibly hyped.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I am an Arcane stan. I love everything they do. Like, we need to protect Arcane because
no doubt. Yeah, give them money and give them time and let them do their thing.
because critically they always do well, but their sales never really kind of do too much to impress. But their games, they basically set the standard for what it means to have player agency.
Yeah, that's fair.
The level of freedom you have in all of their games is unmatched. Like Prey is one of my favorite games. I won't ever forget that game. The first time I played it, that first opening sequence when you figure out what's happening, God. and I mean,
very
definitely
Bioshockish.
But yes, you're absolutely right. The trailer showed enough to give us an idea. We have the abilities and everything. Like I and this is kind of a segue too, but I love how open world games are always set on an island just to kind of prevent this is the limit. but no, Arcane, they are masters of their craft. They have personality with their games, but they also have, like I said, they have the mechanics to help further demonstrate the personality of those games. And like I said, agency is the coolest thing that they always manage to nail.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with. I definitely agree with y'all on that. Seeing it being Project Omen could be called Redfall. Seeing them introduce vampires the way they introduced them, I was thinking that we were going to be playing as vampires, right? That's the thought that was getting me excited. But also from what we've seen, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, CGI. I don't get why they showed that." Again, it's a game that's some time out, right? So just seeing what we saw and getting a basis of what we're going to be doing, 4-player co-op. Shooting these vampires, kind of like I believe it was Slow-Mo Backslap kind of made the reference to it earlier in the week, where it was kind of like Borderlands-ish to him. And when he was explaining the abilities and everything, I was like, oh, I could see that from what I know about Borderlands. And I was like, oh, I could see why you would say that. But at the same time, again, it's a new IP. It's always excellent to see these new ideas come out. Again, Arcane being able to give being able to be given the time, effort, and the money to bring whatever vision that they have to life. Again, you speak about Dishonored, an excellent series. Give them the time. Protect Arcane, like y'all said, man. They can put out an excellent title. I want to know whether it's first person, third person. I think if it ends up being a third person game, I think it'll be an excellent take on that series, something different, kind of outside a little bit out of the wheelhouse a little bit as far as that goes. But even if it's a first person game, I mean, there still has a lot of potential there. Seemed like some good verticality in it and everything. So I'm interested to see where it goes and what their takes on vampires and the such are. Because honestly, other than Back for Blood, I'm kind of over this whole zombie thing, man. Like there's other mysterious beasts that we could be using, right? So
I hear you, man.
Yeah, and as you said that about the kind of first person, third person, I realized that I didn't actually know. So I quickly went to the site, and it does say here Redfall open world co-op FPS. So it's first person. Okay. From Prey and Dishonored, of course.
Excellent.
It just sounds really cool. And one thing, Dan, before I get your comment on Redfall is we've heard so many times, like especially with Dishonored 2, because it came out at a bad time, if you remember, and it was critically acclaimed. But its sales, to your point, Jordan, just didn't do well. Prey was very similar. Again, and I know you're going to hear so many people say this so many times, but Game Pass, man. Yeah. Game Pass. It's
that simple.
It's literally in the first paragraph on their site. Played on Game Pass day one because if you're a developer and you're creating new IPs, which is already tough, a new IP is tougher to get traction on than a big sequel, right? And then you're creating something unique. If you're a developer, you just want people to play the thing you created. That's it. And at the end of the day, it's just amazing that these games like that, this quality, these AAA games are going to have millions upon millions, if not by next summer. Hell, it could be tens of millions of eyes on them at launch automatically. And I think that's got to be very exciting for these devs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, Dan, what do you think of Redfall, man? I know you kind of in the same place with Arcane, I think.
Yeah, for sure. My only question of it is how it's going to play solo, because it looks like it was, there's a lot of those games out there that are co-op and they kind of focus that way. Like, is it going to be, bots going to be with you? Whatever it is, as long as I can play it by myself and it's not ridiculously, difficult or, then I'm fine with it. It looks amazing. I love that art style. That's Arcane's kind of, go to, especially with the Dishonored, you can really see the similarities there. I'm ready for it, man. Let's see what they can do. This is what I wanted when the show started. I wanted some new IPs. And another thing, was a lot of these games are, were announced for the Series X, not both consoles. That's exciting to me because, we can start seeing what these consoles can do, when these games are specifically designed to take advantage of all these things, and I'm ready for them. I'm ready for that. I don't know if that one was.
It is. It is. It's an Xbox Series XS and PC.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's nice to have the site up. There's more details here than I realized, guys. So it said it blends single and multiplayer options seamlessly, allowing the player to venture into the darkness alone or squad up. Teammates can try different hero loadouts and combine their strengths to overcome the Vampire Legion and blah, 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 blah. So, and it actually has profiles of all 4 of the heroes as well, including backgrounds and stuff. So just check out their site, man. It's just,
I didn't know that. That's excellent.
Pretty cool. It should have been on Season Gaming already, but we failed on that front. So, but no, that's it's a good one. I'm excited for. So, all right, guys. All right, we got to get to it. Come on. Let's talk about Halo, man.
Drum roll.
Let's go.
So, Dan, feel free to. I'll go to you first, and you can just say, "I'll play the campaign," and then we can move on.
That's very much it. Yeah. I mean, you got to. Here's the thing. So, what they showed. I mean, it's not going to get me to play multiplayer, but I can understand where these Halo fans, see that and go, "Holy crap!" I guess some of the stuff was amazing, like just watching the no scope, flying through, like all that stuff was cool. You kind of talked about, I think, like some of the how, like the ragdoll physics and stuff like that. Like watching the just everything happen. If you really kind of look at it, it's awesome. I mean, it really does look good, and I think people are going to be super excited. Oh, and it's also free to play. It's going to be freaking huge.
Yeah. Huge. It's going to be monstrous. I think, people don't realize how big the game is going to be once word starts to spread.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, before we get to that, shout out AKW, one of our brothers in the house. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. No doubt. So
yes, much love.
All right, guys. So last week I said, and one of the things I did get right is around how 343 would present Halo, and I thought they did it to perfection. You get Bonnie Ross, right, head of studio. You get Joseph Staten, who was brought in to kind of realign the mess, if you will.
Yes.
Staten has been around a long time, very knowledgeable, and kind of a big part of that community for a long time now. And if you listen to his wording carefully, one of the things I said last week was they needed to show campaign, but only narratively. They needed to reset the narrative around campaign to show you, to get people's mind away from what Halo 5 was. Because I think most of us agree that narratively Halo 5 was kind of messy. So to put it lightly. So what did they do? He comes out, he specifically says this is Chief's story. And then they show just about 90 seconds of Chief and this new AI. It's not Cortana. It drives me crazy when people say that. But this new AI, it was interesting. It was gorgeous. And it did enough to get people excited about Chief again before jumping over to multiplayer, which is where the meat was, which is what was rumored. And I'll tell you guys, I've said this many times now, and I could keep talking about it forever. But that multiplayer trailer, there's so much in it that is both an homage to Halo multiplayer's history, right?
Yeah.
And also kind of just really quick little shout outs to the people like us who are truly invested in Halo multiplayer. I know Jordan and I were in a party chat during the show, and when Halo came on, I muted myself and said, guys, I'm going on mute. I need to leave me alone. Like I need to experience this solo. And I was bouncing off. I was like a little kid. I was bouncing off my couch watching that trailer. I've watched it like several times since. If you haven't, we'll keep saying it. Make sure you watch it in 4K. But guys, I know you're like me with this love. It was a perfect showing from them, in my opinion. And they've shown so much that I just cannot wait to get my hands on this. It's amazing.
Yeah. Have at it, Rain.
Oh man. For me, just to start off with, because I've been seeing this kind of go back and forth, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong on this thinking. how they introduced Halo again was exactly what they needed. To see Joseph Stanton and Bonnie Ross come out there, mainly Joseph Stanton, like you said, Ames, to really realign Halo, get somebody in there that actually knows what needs to happen, was amazing to me. Just seeing his face was an amazing thing. But then for them to cut into the scene with John 117, also known as the Master Chief, and seeing him bouncing from debris to debris, pushing stuff out the way, him being told that, oh, you have one bullet,
man.
And him saying, yo, I'll be all right. And you see him blow up the wall and he's pushing through, to the emotion that was invoked from when he got onto that warthog and he was getting ready to pull the gun from the soldier. And the way that 343 has been able to invoke the emotion out of a man that's in a suit is just insane to me. And it's like it's carrying on from the whole Bungie thing, right? And then going into the scene with whether you want to, let's refer to her correctly as the weapon, because that's the only thing that we know her as currently. Some people want to refer as Cortana's sister, which could be a case. I mean, in some cases they're saying that it could have been an earlier version of her, of Cortana per se, or whatever the case might be. Right now, she is the weapon, as she should be known as. And then seeing the emotion that was evoked in that, and kind of that whole exchange that they had. I think people really kind of make that connection to Cortana. I mean, let's be honest, she does look like her in some aspects, and from the voice to the whole aesthetic and everything. And then not only that, but the emotion between the two, where Chief is like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean Cortana was the leader? What happened? And she's like, oh, did you bump your head? So now you get your mind wandering. It's like, okay, what's going on? And then for those who are familiar with the books, it kind of dives deeper from there, so where it kind of gives you a different kind of aspect. But they invoked so much emotion, especially compared to what we saw initially from last year, to the point to where it gave me, like I kind of explained earlier, those butterflies, where I'm now like, I need to know what's going to happen within this story. Being invested in the universe, in the books and everything, you have one aspect of it, but then Halo Infinite is kind of turning things on its head, and you don't know the exact direction that they may take this. That has me excited. Then going into the multiplayer, and just, oh my goodness, dude, the multiplayer is going to be insane. And not only that, it's going to be free to play. People are going to have untapped access into this multiplayer base that a lot of people, again, they try to downplay. Halo is very unique in many ways, whether it was grappling hook, the grapple jack. That thing is amazing to me. You know what I mean? And then learning that they're going to bring the power-ups back, but the grappling hook is not something that's part of your loadout. You got to go pick it up. Or these other abilities, you got to go pick them up. And then when you they don't get used until you use them, right? And if you don't use them, you drop them, and then the next person can pick them up. Like, they're adding so many mechanics, they're evolving Halo in so many great ways that it's exactly what I was looking for. Again, you see the different types of physics that they're actually introducing, to, like, how can you feel the weight of the guns through a stream? That is insane to me, that they seem to have got it right. And it's not going to be until I'm in the flight program and everything. So it's not going to, I'm excited to jump in there, test it out, and see how it truly feels. But again, it invoked so many Halo memories within me with that multiplayer that they showed, and then the deep dive that followed up after that, where they were just kind of talking about it a little more in depth and what they were trying to go for, along with adding a training mode with AI. You're telling me that there's going to be so much access for newer players to jump into. Let's be honest, Halo's not one of those games to where you could put it down for a month and then just come back into and think that you're going to be all right. Nah, if you're not consistent in Halo, you're going to get smacked around. It is what it is. It's very competitive. It's always been that way. But to have a training mode where you can adjust the levels of the AI and really get your gun game skills right, or test out different moves or whatever the case might be, bringing this whole training academy and making you feel like you're the Spartan in this multiplayer experience, not just Chief in some armor or some other random Spartan in some armor. You are the Spartan that's in this multiplayer experience, whether it be the customization, the custom AI. Like, these ideas have me so amped up. I'm like, even thinking about it now, it's like bringing me goosebumps, because it's like I needed to come out tomorrow. Where is it at? Yes. Like, and I want it to release in September because that's easy. That's sooner than I could get it. It's right around the corner. You know what I mean? But they invoke so much emotion within me. Again, they get those butterflies back every time that I hear people talking about Halo. It sends those memory banks right into motion. I'm thinking like, man, I remember glitching out of the map in Halo 2 and doing that for hours and hours on end. Modding in scarabs and everything. Back then, or whatever the case might be, and just having a good time, especially on the multiplayer side. Especially when you get a good team of people that are all a similar skill level or whatever the case, and just dominating people. And it's not one single way. That's what makes Halo unique, that I feel like a lot of these other shooters miss, is that these other shooters have metas per se. Halo doesn't per se have a meta. It's either you're going to get good at it or you're not. And that's what I've always enjoyed about Halo and loved about Halo. So I'm excited to see it come back, man. So long story short, it didn't do much for you. Yeah, long story short, it was mediocre.
Kind of sucked.
It's 3-4. I don't think anybody should worry about what 343 is bringing into this. I mean, you see devs now coming out and seeing the positive reception that it's been getting. Now they're energized again. The positive energy has reinvigorated them and reinforced them to know that they're going in the right direction. And I'm always on the fence of listening too much to your fan base and also producing your own game. Yeah. But it's just to see them say that, hey, we're glad to hear that we're on the right track, or whatever the case. We're excited that you guys are excited, and we're moving in this direction. So,
Dan, are you representing Pong in the chat? What is this?
It was a 7.
It was a 7.
Goodness.
Oh, Lord.
If you're trying to talk, you're muted, Dan. I don't know what you're doing.
Sorry, I had to change my name real quick since you keep freaking changing
it. Oh man, Jordan, I know you're pretty much in the same place, but anything you want to add?
Yeah, let me just. I just wanted to say, like, that that little narrative scene that we got there too. It made me think of, like, okay, we're going to touch back on the emotional level that Halo 4 gave us.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted. And
me too.
It's just, I'm so happy with what it seems like where it's going. Like I said, they gave us enough to help kind of set the stage, but still leave us mostly in the dark as far as what's going on. I like how the weapon kind of has that kind of sarcasm that Cortana always brought. So again, they're hitting all those story beats that a lot of the diehard fans are used to.
Yeah, and by the way, not to interrupt you, Jordan. I saw Dano posted in the chat. He said if you read Halsey's journal, which I have sitting here somewhere because it came with the Reach Collector's Edition, if that's what he's referring to. Oh, here it is. It actually references the weapon.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Which is cool. I'm gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah. And not to segue too much, but the only book that I read as far as Halo was The Fall of Reach, and that was years ago.
Yeah,
I have not read any of the lore, but that was freaking awesome. But multiplayer, oh my god, oh my god, I'm aside from being amazed by all the mechanics and everything we've seen, I think it's going to be fantastic to see the level of engagement that they're going to get with it being free to play.
Yep.
I want to see how this competes with a lot of the other shooters, like as far as concurrent players we see on Call of Duty or Battlefield. Like, I want Halo to be big. I want it to beat those kind of games. And I think this will give it an honest shot. Their approach to really shaking up how we view battle passes is also really freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Really freaking awesome. Because I was, for years I've been the kind, like I lost many months of my life playing Fortnite and Apex, and just the stress of having to, like, oh my god, I got to get this stupid battle pass before I waste my $10.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're keeping it. They're shaking it up, but making it friendly, and it kind of ties into the whole accessibility thing that you were mentioning, Rain, as far as having a training mode and having bots. You mentioned taking a break from Halo and kind of sucking at it. That's not me. I'm just kidding.
Everybody, but
I'm just kidding. No, there's just so many things in that trailer that like Dane said, that a lot of the diehard fans and the pro players are just gonna, okay, I see that, I'm gonna do that. I've watched it so many times in 4K, and it's everything's better with the grapple hook. I think we can all agree on that. And that whole deflection mechanic they have, as far as bouncing back, there's going to be so many technical plays you can make in this game, and it's
and that's what I love about Halo, right? And I know all of us Halo fans have had this conversation a million times over, but for the people like Rain was referring to, because Halo it's not a shooter, it never has been, never will be, that you can just jump in and do well.
No.
It takes time, it takes dedication. You have to understand mechanics, you have to understand weapons, you have to understand a lot of different things. And I always try to stress to people when you get that conversation around Call of Duty or Halo, and it's like, I'm not putting down Call of Duty. I've played a lot of Call of Duty in my life, but you can jump into that game, pick up almost any weapon, aim and shoot, and do well.
It works.
It's a point and shoot game. And that's not to say there's not players that are pro level players compared to weak players and all that. But the skill gap and the understanding that Halo requires is so much deeper and so much more technical, to your point, Jordan. That's always been just a passion and love for me. And I think I have brought friends along on that journey, almost training them like in custom games myself, to say, okay, look, you see how now you broke your shield. Now you got to get the headshot, right? And you just kind of teach them the mechanics. And I think people are not downplaying, but we haven't heard enough about the training mode that you reference, Rain, because that can be very, very important, especially if they start to talk about different gun mechanics and, recognizing when a shield breaks and, the collaboration and team play that requires. I mean, if you ever break a shield on Jordan's team, the guy's dead, because Jordan's going to get the kill.
100%.
Just 100%. He steals 100% of those, just to put that out there. But that's what Halo's about, right? It's at the core of Halo. It's understanding the different engagements, team play, map control, and it's just so exciting to think about the possibilities here. And I can't wait. Can't wait.
The Halo sandbox is literally, it's one of the most satisfying things about that game, and the fact that every weapon is purposeful. You don't see that in really any other competitive shooter.
No, you don't.
That's what kind of gives me that level of satisfaction from playing something like that, because I'm going to need a shotgun around this corner here. I'm going to use a needler on this guy because he's running away from me. He has his back to me, But the precision too is also just
and the vice versa, right? The thing I tell people is, like, when you see an enemy in Call of Duty, you see an enemy, it's like, well, I've got to move because he's going to shoot me. That's your only thought, right? Or you got to shoot him first.
Yeah.
In Halo, there's the engagement of, okay, surroundings. What is he holding? Is he holding a spanker? Is he holding the needler? Is he holding a plasma pistol? And each of those kind of ultra quick calculations you have to make changes what you should do in that instance. And that is very, very unique to Halo. And I think for the people who don't get Halo, it's very underappreciated. But I think
I'm going to die as soon as I see somebody else. Like, that's the only thing that goes through my head. Like, oh, hey, there's an enemy player.
And Dan, you're not wrong in that. It's kind of one of those things where accuracy matters in Halo a lot, especially when you got BRs or DMRs, these different single shot or burst shot type weapons where headshots matter. It's like you have to spend this time. Like I used to run people through SWAT. It's like, if you want to get nice at the game, come play SWAT. That's the only way you're going to understand that you have to make sure you hit your shots, because if you don't, that's the difference between you dying or the other player dying, you know what I mean? Along with everything else involved, where the rocket launcher is at, where the sword is at, where the active pickups are at, and where the frag pickups are at. Having this understanding of just how everything, how the momentum works within Halo is so important. And again, one of the other major things that people may have forgot about, they're also bringing the most expansive forge that has ever been created into this Halo.
Yes,
like, they're taking such a focus on community also saying, hey, y'all are asking for BR. We don't necessarily have a focus for battle royale or whatever the case. We care about the battle rifle, but if y'all make one and it gets popular, you know that they're going to actually end up making that an actual game mode within Halo, whatever the case might be. And it's dope because it's all based off the community engagement. And that's the other thing that makes Halo so great, the custom games and not only the rank matches. And hopefully they get the ranking system right, because I feel like that's always been a key part of Halo 2.
Yeah, no doubt. And their focus on big team here, I love.
Yes.
You know, moving to 12 on 12, moving to dedicated maps again, focusing on capture the flag. You know, really those kind of big core, big team moments is. You know, I love that stat, and again, aligning what Halo should be. You have arena, you have big team, and that's what our offering is out of the gate. But it is a platform it's going to expand, and to your point, you know, the sky's the limit to what they can do with this going forward.
It's exciting.
Pampa again in the house, $5 super chat. Ains is the fastest Halo player. Jordan is the second fastest. I'm not putting that out there. You can say that first. I can't wait to get killed by you guys. Dan will give Halo an 8. Dan is not reviewing Halo Infinite. I'm going to put that out there right now.
Think about it.
Thank you, Pampa.
I mean, it would be a very fair and honest review, but I could never. Like the multiplayer would be like, yeah, there's multiplayer. That's part of the review.
You can play with other people too.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. They've got multiplayer.
Yeah, this is interesting. So Shizno mentions, you know, hookshot's going to be huge in MP. Yeah. The interesting thing, I know they talked previously, and this is the last point on Halo, and I promise we'll move on, guys. But they got rid of the Spartan Charge. You know, the hover and the ground pound, right? Which we all knew ahead of time. I did not expect them to get rid of the thrust. Because the thrust really became a key component of pro play in Halo 5. And it really kind of, you know, there's so many unique things you could do with the thrust, right? It's like, I could jump to this ledge and then, there's someone you can immediately dash out and get around a corner. It's just all these different engagements. So I was surprised by that. And knowing that the grapple hook is a pickup, as you guys said. So really what we're talking about here, sprint, of course, is there. Stop. Right. If you don't like sprint, please go elsewhere. You know, it feels like outside of sprint, obviously being there, they're really going back to basics here. You know, that kind of movement set outside of the grapple hook, obviously as a pickup, is going back to that core, back to what Halo was. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm very, very, very excited to play it. If you couldn't tell,
facts.
Preach.
Yeah. Thrust.
Yes. Brett asked if Clamber is in. Yes.
Yeah.
What is
so I think that's going to be, I mean, they showed a little bit of the capabilities between clambering and grapple hook, and kind of taking the ceiling. You saw obviously the no scope, but then you saw another moment where basically he came out of a doorway, used it while these two players were focused over here, and then all of a sudden he's right behind them. You know what I mean? And just the pro, we joke about it all the time, Jordan, but the high level play, the clips that we're going to see from this game online that people pull off are going to be just unbelievable.
Bonkers. Yeah,
insanity.
Absolutely.
Can't wait. All right. We could keep going for a long time, but I promise we'll move on. So let's hit it. Dan, let's talk Plague Tale.
Oh yeah.
We got Plague Tale Requiem, the sequel to Plague Tale, obviously. Surprise announcement at the Xbox show. Also surprising Game Pass launch again, coming next year. Thought this was a very cool trailer, how they set it up, obviously led into the Sea of Rats, the wave of rats. And then I very liked at the end how they focused on, I forget the boy's name. Anyone remember?
No, I can't remember.
Okay. God. Anyway, someone in chat will throw it up. But how they pan out at the end, and he's basically on like a, what looked maybe like the Italian coastal side, or, you know what I mean? Like some type of more lush location, whereas the first obviously had some more, drab's a bad word, but you know what I mean. It looked like it may open up a little more than the first game. So Dan, I know you were a huge fan of the first one. I would presume that this was one of your favorite announcements from the show.
Yeah, this was probably one of the top announcements for me. It's
Hugo, by the way.
Yeah, I remember like Amicia, right? Like that was her name.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it was like I remember that game when I first saw the first gameplay for it. It was funny because it was the year Cyberpunk, I think, showed some stuff at E3 or had that 45-minute trailer.
Mhm.
So it was they had like a kind of like a sizzle reel of a bunch of games, and I watched the Cyberpunk one, and I just happened to keep watching, and the one right after that was the Plague Tale, and I was like, "What the hell is this? This looks really good," and it's still one of my top games of that year when it released.
Great game.
Super excited about it. I hope they add a few things. She's got a crossbow now, so I saw that on her back. That looks awesome.
Nice.
The hell with that slingshot. But, I mean, they did a really good job with it. Yeah. It was. Yeah, she's upgraded. Yeah, I want to see where they take it from here. Because it was a really good story too.
It was.
And that's it. Kind of brought everything together. From what was it, Sobo that did it? It was. It was unexpected for me. I like those games that kind of come out of nowhere, and it's nice to see that it's getting the sequel treatment. I'm all for it, man, and it's gonna look awesome. And they're releasing a update for the new or for the old one for Innocence. So,
it's out, isn't it?
I don't know.
The update. I thought the update was out for Plague Tale on Series XS and PS5.
I'm actually not sure.
No idea.
It is also in Game Pass.
Yeah,
first one.
Yeah.
So if you haven't played that game, definitely check it out. It's
super good.
It's nothing revolutionary, but it's just a very good game, good story. Love to see smaller dev get a lot of recognition for a title like that too.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
You guys kind of. Oh, thank you, Shizno. July 6th. So
July. Okay. Yeah. Not even far off.
No.
Another playthrough I need to do again. Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, there's so much.
Crazy.
There's so much. Guys, you kind of feel the same? Did you play Plague Tale?
Yes.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, I loved a Plague Tale. I think I played that last year on Game Pass, and yeah, what a great little story that was. I like seeing more stealth games. It wasn't like the deepest combat, but it was very satisfying the way they implemented it with the whole fire, the armor melting, and obviously using the rats to devour your enemies. But yeah, some really interesting story beats and actually a pretty emotional ride too.
Yeah.
So give me more.
For me, I have Plague Tale in my backlog. I have not had a chance to jump into it yet. What for me was more impressive is seeing Asobo not only carry the mantle for Flight Sim, but then also carry on the mantle with Plague Tale. I keep hearing over and over again how many people love Plague Tale, the first game and everything else. So to see them get a second game while also doing everything that they're doing with Flight Sim, because again, people try to downplay what Flight Sim is doing. The fact that they're bringing it to console, a game or a simulation style game that is hard to run on PC, and they're bringing it to console is a feat within itself. Asobo obviously has some wizardry going on. They might have the Lion, the Witch, and the wardrobe just lined up somewhere, because it is insane the fact that we saw Flight Sim look as good as it did on the Series X in that presentation, and then to also see them bring out another third-person type game with Plague Tale and kind of continue that mantle. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully, I'll get some time to run into it. But man, with all these co-op and multiplayer-based games, those always pull me first, man. I just can't help that. You know what I mean? But I'm looking forward to see what they do with it.
Yeah, the Maverick thing, it looks. Like I was like, okay, I'm not
Top Gun tie-in.
Yeah, there's zero chance I install this, right? Because I played it on the PC. I was like, okay, there's no, I feel like for me, I got enough out of it. But then they released the Maverick thing. I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna have to go buy a damn flight stick for my Xbox, because mine's for the PlayStation, just to go play this, because that's my bread and butter. Like Ace Combat 7 was like one of my favorite games. When I got the stick, so much fun, So it's. I really wish they hadn't done that, because I'm going to have to delete like half of my games, because it's going to be like 8,000 gigabytes or whatever it is. It's going to be huge.
It's funny you say that, because I'm not joking. One of the first thoughts after that show was, God damn it, I got to buy that expansion.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too. I was like, some of these, now they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree with all that. It is kind of funny though. The Maverick thing was neat, and those tie-ins, not a lot of people are talking about it, but I think it's far bigger of a thing than non-Sea of Thieves fans are imagining. But the tie-in with Disney and getting Pirates of the Caribbean with Sea of Thieves, that's huge.
Here's the issue you're going to run into that it's supposed to be played like a tall tale. So it's not it's still going to be in the PvE VP world, right?
Yeah.
So what is going to happen for those who want to play it, be aware that the jackasses that just like to pick on little people will be camping out at those islands or wherever you have to go if they can, and they will just annihilate you because they're assholes. So maybe give it a few weeks at least to where they're off of that kick. But that's basically the streamer / I need views / I'm a dick crowd. Like that is the downfall. I will stand on that and die on that hill of Sea of Thieves. Is the streaming community?
That's a big debate.
God, I hate Rare for that. And all they do is cater to them. They give you this PvE stuff, but what they don't say is like, you're probably going to get annihilated trying to do just one story mission, But
that is true.
It's in there. It's in there. It's so unbalanced. Yeah. So unbalanced.
You good?
Yeah. I'm good. Thanks.
So we, guys, we've been talking for a while on Xbox, and we've covered all of like 5 games. They showed 30, with 27 of them coming to Game Pass on day 1. Which is just phenomenal. So one of the others I have to touch on because it kind of stole the show is Horizon 5 coming this year. I really love the way they kind of had the normal trailer for it to unveil their Forza Horizon 5 trailer, 1.5 or whatever minute trailer. And then they went to some of the Playground team, and I started to get worried for a second. I was like, oh God, they're going to spend 10 minutes with 4 people just talking about nonsense, because the show was doing so well, you know what I mean? But then they didn't do that, thankfully, and they basically just showed this amazing scenery across Mexico that they captured in 12K, which is just ridiculous to even think about. And then the way they transitioned, and I know everyone's talked about this again, but the way they transitioned these scenes and scenery into actual gameplay was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And again, if you haven't watched it in 4K, go do so because it's mind-blowing. But this game, the thing about Forza, I said yesterday on Rand Show, is just that Horizon is that game where, especially with Game Pass, as we keep saying, anyone can jump into it. Anyone can have fun. It's very easy to play with your friends. You don't have to know cars. You don't have to know anything. You can jump in, play it like an open world arcade racer. There's mini games, there's collectibles, there's exploration, and now there's Forge, which is ridiculous. The game just looks absolutely stunning. I think this is easily going to be Playground's best one yet. And I think it's also going to see millions upon millions upon millions of players. Because if you weren't aware, Forza Horizon 4, has been upgraded. It's now on PC as well since it's launched 3 years ago, and that game continues to sell well 3 years later. Yeah. So the fact that this is launching across all platforms, day and date, Xbox PC, Xbox One, Series consoles, this is going to be a monster, guys. It's going to be a monster.
100%, man.
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest car guy by any means. Like I will still be looking at these and I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful friggin' car. I want to drive that thing. But I thought that's
everyone thought that
game. Beautiful. Yeah. And it was very seamless and very cinematic the way they did those transitions where it just, still camera and then boom, pan right behind this vehicle that comes barreling down.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. I think Mexico is a great setting to do it. Yeah. There's such a varied landscape, especially because we got the whole countryside and the little urban settings with the UK, and now we're gonna go like full on mountains, volcanoes, and
the diversity of the Mexican landscape is perfect. Yeah,
perfect.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I mean, as someone who's been a fan of Forza since Forza 2, Motorsport 2, and I've been heavily invested in the Horizon series again. Like you were saying, Ains, it's kind of more the arcade style, even though I've always played with everything simulation.
Me too.
I just recently stopped playing Simulation Damage because in Horizon it's annoying as hell. And so I do the same thing in Motorsport. I just can't handle taking it to that level anymore. Starting races over and over again because the AI just wants to hit you just because. And then your car acting completely differently. As much as I used to love it back in the day, that part of it, I take I leave that as it is. But everything else, I turn on full simulation because I love the overall driving experience in the Forza. just everything that they've been able to do, whether it's Turn 10 or Playground, they're showing you why Gran Turismo at this point is completely irrelevant. I don't see how Gran Turismo can make any kind of a comeback in any way, shape, or form. I haven't looked at Gran Turismo the same again since Forza Motorsport 2. And Turn 10 and Playground are constantly reiterating on what they have. People said, oh, we've reached Moore's Law as we've gotten to this generation. And Playground is showing you we can turn this image and make it look real, and then all of a sudden there's a car sliding in the picture, and where you're like questioning reality at this point. It is insane what they've been able to do with this, and to imagine it's still a cross-gen title. Again, they're still using the same Forza Tech engine with some updates on it or whatever the case. It's not the new Forza Tech engine, and it just gives you that thought, like, what is motorsport going to be like? Right. Because motorsport has always looked better, because I was of the mindset, like, people were like, oh, I don't know how they're going to do with this new Horizon and make it cross-gen or whatever the case. I was like, easily take those assets from Forza Motorsport 7, because Motorsport 7 looks better than Horizon does, and then upgrade it. And then, keep it cross-gen. There's one way to do it. And they did that and turned the dial up to 15. It is insane what we're going to be able to do with that. Even from the little things, I don't know if everybody might have not noticed this, but being able to finally get those cars, the convertible hardtop cars, and be able to drop the top mid-game or put it up mid-game is going to be, it's a little thing, but I'm not a soft top convertible fan. I love the hard top convertible side of things. So being able to drop the top, whatever, adds more verticality to the gameplay, really, for me. And then I just hope that they're bringing in more customization and everything. As beautiful as the world looks, I feel like they don't take advantage of. We had a little bit of it in Horizon 4, where they gave you the custom heroes or whatever the case might be. I just want them to add more variety to it, more of the like Liberty Walk body styles, more of the wide body styles and everything that you can add to the multiple different cars or whatever the case might be, and just really take advantage of that. Because again, Horizon is a series that everybody can jump into, whereas Motorsport is more it's really simulation based, and it's kind of harder to get everybody into. So
yeah, fair enough.
I just want to have hydraulics so I can just drive a Cadillac. You're like bouncing down the street in New Mexico there, man.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
That'd be so awesome.
That'd be hilarious.
AKW in the house. What's up, man? Stop with your shrimp. Get the shrimp out of here. Come on now.
Right underneath that, Cerebral Paul is
I know,
100% correct. 100% correct. That's what happens is you get Porsches, stupid drive-a-tar in there.
Dude, and he drives to win, man. We're not here to play games.
Man, that's what I'm saying. Off the side of the road. I'm like, what am I saying? Like, I have to unfriend him on
countryside. No,
so he doesn't show up. Jeez Louise, what a dick.
And after seeing the Porsche driving across the desert, first thing I thought was Porsche power. My man. That's right. And if for those who are really into cars, I won't bore you to tears, but the Porsche they showed was a 70s rally Porsche 911, which is a classic in the Dakar rally. The fact that it's in the game has me excited, and I'm probably one of about 8 people, so I'll shut up now. Dan, I know you enjoy the Horizon games. You're not a motorsport guy, but enjoy the Horizon games.
Both. I like them both. I think Horizon is just a lot more accessible for people that aren't, simulation guys. But Forza 7, I mean, I played quite a bit of that. So it's I'm excited for it. I'm glad they showed it. It wasn't at the very end like I thought it was going to be. Either that or I can't remember what I said last week. It was either beginning or end.
Yeah, it was close. They ended with Redfall, of course.
Yeah, but it was. I was super excited when I saw it. As soon as I did, my buddy Greg called me or texted me, "Hey, guess what? Forza." I was like, "Yeah, I'm watching it. I understand."
You didn't hear, but there's a Forza coming.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh man, I'm super excited." Then we had probably a 30-minute text conversation on how to actually purchase the game. Because I was like, listen, you get it on Game Pass. You have Game Pass. You're going to have Game Pass. You get it for nothing, right? Also, if you want and you want to get it early, they have a add-on pack which gives you all the DLC,
which is really cool, by the way.
Which is awesome. I'm so happy they're doing that. Would I rather have the entire game for free? Absolutely. But if not, give me this option. Yeah. This is great. So, you can get all that stuff. Yeah, but how do I get the main game? Let me tell you something. I wish I would post this if I wasn't so embarrassed for the man about how he just did not understand what was going on. So you literally have to spend $50. That's the bottom line.
So for those who are
send you
newer
a
to the
link.
show or maybe listening, we're talking about Dan's friend Greg, who
Great guy.
is
Not
one of his
smart.
best friends, but completely clueless on how anything works in terms of gaming. So the conversations they get into are just hilarious.
Yes. He is my Sea of Thieves partner, which is
like
bad news because he can't, like, if you see a ship within 500 yards, he's done. Like he can't control himself. He freaks out and he's jumping overboard at that point. He's just like, I'm gone. I can't deal with this. But I play with them because I feel like somebody needs to.
It's charity, right?
Yeah, right. It's charity.
Mo, I'm with you. I did the same thing for Forza Horizon 4. I went and bought the Ultimate Steelbook edition because I need that Steelbook. But if there's no sense saying, I didn't even mean to click that, but that works out. If you don't know what Dan's talking about, because the game's releasing on Game Pass, they have an upgrade option where you can get the Ultimate Edition with the car pass, with the the bonus editions and all that, the early access. You can buy just that, so you can still use your Game Pass to get the core game, and then just spend. Is it $40 or $45?
I think it's $50. No, maybe it's on sale because it was with Game Pass. It's like $45.99 or something.
Okay,
like that.
So $40-some to basically just upgrade to the Ultimate.
Yeah.
So that option's out there if you want it.
Awesome deal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right, guys. So like I said, we could spend way more time on Xbox. There was, there was Somerville, which most people, I won't say most people, that's not fair, but people didn't recognize is the co-founder of Playdead, the company that created Limbo and Inside, very famous games, of course. They split. The two founders split a few years ago. And this gentleman went and started Jumpship, his own new company. This is their first game. So a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, this looks kind of like some new Insider type." Well, yeah, it's his new company and game. So that was actually a pretty big announcement. Somerville, Stalker 2, obviously a big game coming next year. You had Back for Blood, which kind of leaked ahead of time, sadly for Game Pass, but still October you get Back for Blood with Game Pass, which is incredible. You got Psychonauts 2, which I am over the moon for. Cannot wait for that. Hades is not only coming to Xbox, but launching on Game Pass. Atomic Heart looks wild. Can't wait for that one. Outer Worlds 2 might have been my favorite trailer of all of E3 for the way it parried. Yeah, for the way it parried, just everything.
They do so great with that. Oh,
amazing. So, guys, I kind of run through all this. There was obviously more than that too, but any other specific thing about the Xbox conference or game, anything that you want to comment on?
Yeah, man. It was good.
Not other than Battlefield.
Battlefield 2. Exactly.
Yeah, you got that whole conversation of whether a multiplayer-based game is worth $70 or not. Again, it's insane to me because, you're so willing to spend $70 for a single-player game. Why can't a multiplayer game be kind of the same? At least that's kind of my aspect on it. It just depends. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? It just depends on what you're going to get out of it. Again, for me, I've been playing Battlefield for a long time, since Battlefield 2 on PC. So I'm used to Battlefield not having a main campaign. They've always had the option kind of where you can go into like a single player experience or play with AI. So I've always enjoyed that kind of aspect of it. But multiplayer is what Battlefield is known for. You know what I mean? And just seeing what they were able to do with this one, I'm enthralled for it. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. But again, hopefully it doesn't come out close to Halo because I don't know about y'all because this is the other conversation people have been having. Halo's watching out for Battlefield and Call of Duty. No, I think they're both watching out for Halo. Just saying.
Smart. Yeah. The only thing I wanted to say was just I really liked how Xbox finally turned around all their cruddy shows from the past and knocked it out of the park. And then not only that, 16 games coming out just this year alone in the next 6 months.
Actually, thank you, Jordan. I forgot because I put that in our thing here. So they released this after the show to kind of give you an idea. So let me throw this image up, which is crazy, right? So
there it is.
They released 11 games that day, right, during the conference. Then they said, here's another 18 that are coming to Game Pass this year. And remember, there's only 6 months left in the year. So that's a game every, that's 3 games a month, almost a game every week for the rest of the year. And then they've already announced another, what do we got? Another 15 games or 13 games for next year, which is all Game Pass launch, every single one of them.
I forgot about Scorn.
And
the Gunk.
The Gunk,
Gunk. And the Gunk is from a big developer. It's from Oh, damn it. I'm going to go blank. The developer that did Steam, is it Steam World Dig?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, my point being there's pedigree behind the development there. So it's unbelievable to me how much they have coming. So thank you, Jordan. I actually forgot to throw that.
Yeah, brother. Yeah.
Gunk.
Dan, anything else?
No, I'm good, man. Yeah, it was finally nice to see a show, and that has been my complaint for every show that we've had, especially last year. But I understand, given the circumstances. But it's nice to see what they did, have the games, and just focus on that. There's a little bit with Forza and a little bit with Halo, but those are your flagship, games. So I mean, yeah, you got to talk about them a little bit. But everything else was just boom, 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 and everything was like when I think I told you the Halo thing, I think was really short to me, but it fit the show so well. And then they came out later and they give you
perfect.
It
was absolutely perfect because to your point, they came out right after and said, by the way, tomorrow we're doing an overview of Halo multiplayer. And it was 15 minutes the next day. And then they came back Thursday, right? 3 days later, 4 days later, whatever it was, and did an extended showcase, which you mentioned earlier, Dan, to basically deep dive into a bunch of these games. Back 4 Blood, you've got Flight Sim, there were a bunch that were covered yesterday, which were, it was just a fantastic week. And I think Xbox has finally figured out how to present this. Now, just repeat. Don't try and reinvent anything. You've got it. It took lots of iterations. You've got
everybody else should look at it too and go, hey, that's what we do.
Yeah. It was perfect. Real quick, we can joke about Xbox and chill. The fridge is coming, boys. Series X fridge. They had obviously a trailer for it, which is one of the most watched trailers the entire week. Did you know that? Crazy. It's like the third most watched trailer out of any game. Is the fridge. So Aaron Greenberg said they're making as many as they can. He still doesn't think it's going to be enough. So who knows? But they're going on sale later this year. You guys, any of you buying one? Who's buying one?
I'm invested. I need it. I need it like tomorrow.
Oh, man. I'm not even joking with you. I have a fridge right there, like Dan knows, 6 feet away with alcohol and everything else in it. I'm literally buying it. I'm going to put the other fridge right on top of it. It's just going to be like on the counter.
Facts.
Oh yeah, I'm getting one for sure. I already told, like, we were sitting here watching it. I was watching some of it with my kids, and I'm like, if mom asks what I need for Christmas and or birthday, because I never get any. I never tell her I want anything. Like, give me underwear. That's what I want. So Father's Day or tomorrow. So let's go.
Oh my God. Yeah. A bunch of people in chat saying the same thing. Enzo, Hassan, Matt, all in, man. I hope they're not that hard to get a hold of, like a Series X, right? I hope.
Hey, I'm just ready for that velocity cooling architecture that they're putting in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As hot as it is here, man, I'm just gonna have it open and then blowing on my face.
It's a mini AC unit.
Yeah, shove my head in it and roll it good.
Oh, man. So, yeah, guys. So Xbox really did dominate the week. We kind of joked about it earlier that it was nice to see because they have kind of fallen flat many times, and we've criticized them when it needed to be criticized. 2, the week without Xbox would have been drab. It's just the hype in the games and everything they generated was great.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think there's more proof of that than the few conferences that came after Xbox. So you went to Take-Two, you went to Square Enix. And none of these shows were very good. Square Enix was a bizarre one. And I know, Jordan, I think you touched on this game, but, they showed Babylon's Fall, which didn't show well at all.
No.
Right? They come out with Final Fantasy Origin, which when they talked about it, I was actually excited for. I'm like, all right, you got Final Fantasy, you got Souls-like elements, you got Team Ninja. I'm in. I haven't played the demo, but I've talked to several people who say it plays horribly.
I heard it was broken.
Yeah, Jordan. So Jordan, I've heard it's bad.
It is. It feels like it's a PS3 era, honestly.
Oh God,
you're honestly, it really is, and I hate to poo-poo on on a new game like that's coming out, but yeah, I know. It just like, so when I was playing the tutorial, I was like, okay, the combat seems pretty cool, but then once you're actually in the game itself, the world is just one color palette. It's muddy. It's uninteresting. The enemies were not fun to fight at all. The writing is just again, chaos. That's the whole meme right now.
Chaos.
It's obnoxious. And then, kind of to the point that you had made when we were on TBC, it just seems uninspired.
Yeah, not innovative at all, right?
So that's how it felt.
And I felt the same way for a Final Fantasy title or Lost Paradise, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's a weird title.
For it to have an art style like Devil May Cry, to then have a play style like Dark Souls, and then still trying to be a Final Fantasy game, like it doesn't know what it wants to be.
Right.
Like, and that's more of my problem. And you can tell. That's the thing about it, and you want it to be great or whatever, because Final Fantasy, the wonderful world of Final Fantasy, can go in so many different places. You always want them to take advantage of that universe, and then this is what it's supposed to be like, the kind of taking a reimagining of the first Final Fantasy, right? Trying to take it back to give you kind of like an origin story, right? And again, them talking about it was more interesting than them showing me gameplay and this guy yelling about chaos 16 times.
Even the character designs looking uninspired. Typical kind of Japanese looking white dude with dyed blonde hair and a t-shirt. I'm like, what are we doing, man? Come on, like, we can do better than this.
We're trapped in the era of frosted tips and and boy bands in Japan, I guess.
Square Enix found a couple games they forgot to release during the 360 and PS3 era, no doubt.
It's true, Pong.
We don't, and to your point, Jordan, it's not even trying to criticize developers because you don't like doing that, but it's not it, guys.
Yeah, it needs to be baked 400 degrees. I don't care how long you need to bake it for. Make sure it comes out right.
Make sure it's 165 internal temperature.
If you need to step back, to Rain's point, man, figure out what you want this to be at its core, and put the time in. But anyway, I don't think there's a whole lot else we need to touch on from those other conferences. We get to Nintendo. So I'm trying. I've been not too critical. Maybe I've been just the right amount of critical. But I've been very critical of Nintendo lately on this show, and I'm trying not to be. This conference definitely did not bring me back. I thought this conference was very poor. I will say I do owe an apology because I've been talking down on the Metroid Dread announcement for a while. I did a little digging yesterday. I'm have a little more confidence about it now. And I don't have the article up. Game Informer has a good article on it. Essentially, this is the final game in the series of games that started with Metroid and the Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
And while it's not being directly developed by Nintendo, which concerned me, it is being developed by the developer who did some of the prior Metroid games. And the producer and overseer of it is Sakamoto, who is the Metroid guy. So that does fill me with a little more confidence that Metroid Dread could be a solid, entry. But other than that, guys, I don't know how you felt about Nintendo. If you're more positive than me, please speak up. But I felt it was a lot of rehashes. We saw a lot of games from Nintendo that are reusing old content again, which drives me crazy. And of course, there is, of course, Breath of the Wild 2 coming next year, but we knew that was going to be there, right? I mean, everyone knew that. So outside of that, this show did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. Metroid Dread looks kind of cool. And that was and Breath of the Wild too, I'm excited for, but also it looked very, very similar to Breath of the Wild. And I was like, man, I hope they just don't we're just doing it in the same Hyrule map, but also the clouds, a little.
You and I talked about that, right? Because that final scene.
Yeah, it looked exactly the same
map.
Yeah.
It's the same world.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, Dread could be potentially a really good game. But also, I mean, we saw nothing about a new Switch, which I was actually a little bit surprised. I thought they'd at least hint at it or something. Just nothing, man. I mean, I don't know if they're having the same chip issues. I mean, I would think they're using dollar store chips as opposed to what Xbox is using. So I think they'd be more plentiful. But I mean, I don't know. So it was Nintendo just continues to let me down, over and over and over again. Yeah. And it's just getting to the point where I'm just done with them. I'm just like, what, just do whatever you're going to do. I mean, if something pops up, maybe I grab one or, grab a game, but I don't know, man. It's just not the same as it used to be. And that's what bothers me, I think. But
no, I'm definitely in the camp of I'm having to just go. It's not for me anymore. I guess I'm just not the audience anymore. It doesn't do anything for me.
And yeah, that's fair. You know,
and that's become blatantly obvious. I mean, again, I'm along the same lines, man. I hate to be, you know, the negative Nancy for Nintendo, but it's just like I respect Nintendo for the hustle, but them constantly rehashing these titles again, like Dan was saying. When I saw Breath of the Wild 2, I was like, oh, is this the Breath of the Wild 1 DLC? What is going on? So it's just really a turn off again, like seeing that they didn't release a Nintendo Switch Pro Plus Prime, whatever it's going to be called. It was kind of disappointing. Again, I feel like Nintendo is really heavy about Q&A, so I'm pretty sure that they didn't want to release something else without having a lot of hands-on, getting a lot of experience with it, making sure that this is what they want to do. They're probably talking to Xbox right now, like, oh, I heard you're done with the Xbox. We'll use those Jaguar cores y'all got. We heard they could do 4K. And throw that in there. We'll use DLSS in there somehow. But it's just one of those things where as a Switch owner, it's just Nintendo talks to the kids, man. I mean, we see how it goes. They keep rehashing again. I respect the hustle, but it's just not for me anymore, man. I'm more of a Metroid Prime fan. I would have rather.
Yeah, I think all of us. Yeah.
Seeing the side-scrolling Metroid is cool and all. I mean, again, you're making me reminisce about back in the days and the emulated games that I've played over the years.
Emulated.
But again, I'd rather. I'd rather have seen would have seen Prime, you know what I mean? Same. But that's just me personally. So
no, I'm with you, Rain. I would have liked to have seen Prime too. When I saw Metro, I was like, oh, it's 3D, maybe it's Prime, and then no, it's a side scroll. But yeah, no, Ains, I think you're right. Like that might be a saving grace that they have a Sakamoto on it now. So
yeah, I don't know, because again, if I know I've said it a few times, but that game was canceled in 2007.
That's true.
It's not a new game. Right. So I just it concerns me. I don't know. But again, listen to the qualifications we're having to make. Like, if this is your big excitement for the show, that's what you had, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it Nintendo did not impress me in the slightest. And again, I'm going to be harsh on that. I have not had a legitimate reason to purchase anything on my Switch or play my Switch really since I bought Hades on it last year. It just does not cater to me. But again, I guess that kind of speaks to volumes that, the hardcore like us that, are demanding of specific experiences and level of quality. Nintendo just has to simply, again, either release a product that could be of, I don't want to say little to no effort, but in a sense, it probably is little to no effort. and they'll make bank on it, because they said their biggest audience is the casual market, and that's good for them. They said they can succeed off of that. Yeah. It's just not gonna please us, which is a sad thing. But yeah, I could go on about that nonsense. But
at least it's not me this week, because I was like 4 weeks in a row ranting about Nintendo. But yeah, I think I get your guys' input on this. On one aspect I've mentioned a few times is they rightfully and smartly, intelligently, whatever word you want to use, combine the Switch markets and the DS markets, the console market and the DS market into one market. Yeah. And that's why one of the reasons why the Switch has been so successful and continues to sell so well. However, what it's done for me is you look at something like Metroid Dread, and that just doesn't look like a big console game to me, right? They'll sell it as one. Yeah. I promise you they'll sell it as one. It's already selling out. You can't even get the special edition.
See?
But it doesn't feel like a big console game. And what really kind of drives me crazy here is that everyone seems, well, not everyone, but their community seems to be okay with that. It's just, I really wish Nintendo would make a console for guys like us that grew up loving Nintendo, but wants a true Nintendo console experience like we're getting from Xbox and PlayStation. And those days seem to be over.
Yep. It's over, man.
I don't think they're not concerned with that. I mean, they have such a high retention rate as far as their consoles and their games go and their community goes, and they're not going to complain about it. We see people even within our community who would say, "Hey, man, I'm part of the problem. They release it, I buy it." I mean, it is what it is. Nintendo has that power. Again, I would love to see them reinvigorate themselves, doing something different, but obviously they don't see that they have to.
Yeah.
They can get away with the bare minimum as we kind of see it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it was nice while it lasted. Yeah, but
we had a good run, boys.
Yeah, it's really we outgrew what they're doing, and they know that they're not, they don't have to cater to us,
right?
It's just sad. It's like you're getting, kicked out of your house, and it's just like, we gave you everything you needed.
Yeah,
now we got some new kids. The ones are gone, and that's in their fan base. I mean, there's a humongous, I'm sure, community just like the one we were part of. That we just don't see because 100%. We don't, and so and they're probably on social media and they're probably talking, they're probably like, this is the best thing ever.
There's podcasts that we don't even know exist that are preaching about how good this was.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, it's totally different audiences and it's just totally different communities. And, we were there at the beginning and, now we've, I guess, outgrown it, which is crazy. Like, I mean, just real quick, Mario Party, whatever the hell that was, kiss my ass. That's my last little thing. Kiss my ass because I just bought the Switch version. Now I get an upgraded Switch version that I have to pay $70 for.
So here's the ridiculous thing about that. They released Mario Party as a new Mario Party game on the Switch, which you knew they were going to do, but it's lackluster. They put no effort into it. And they release a new Mario Party, this Superstars, that just brings back the boards from N64. I'm like, that's as classic Nintendo as you can get. Like,
they don't care.
It's insane to me. Like we've hit that point where they're re-releasing Switch games now, not just Wii U games. So we've gone into that realm and that dimension, and I don't know what it's supposed to be like. But I'm getting out of it.
Super Monkey Ball and Advance Wars and Fatal Frame. I mean, it's not that these are bad games. It's that these were games with content you're talking upwards of 20 years ago that they're bringing back and selling at full price. And it's just, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. I know. I promised I wasn't going to rant on it, but yeah, I mean, that's okay. You said they've moved on from us. That's okay. It can be what it is. We experienced the Super Nintendo, the N64. We were there during the best time.
It's not like I have a shortage of shit to play right now.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like they have their market, they have their audience. It is what it is. They're obviously not hurting for it. So until their majority of their masses start speaking up, it's just going to be what it is. It's not for us. It is for whoever enjoys it. Because there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I'm on the go all the time," and it's that and other thing. And it's like, I enjoy those titles. Good, man. I appreciate that you appreciate it, but I am not trying to continuously get finessed.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You know what interesting thing real quick you said there is on the go. And one of the things we've talked about, and I forgot to mention when I put up that screen earlier, is, Xbox is obvious. One of their core tenets is xCloud and cloud gaming. They mentioned that they are almost complete. This kind of went by the wayside. They're almost complete upgrading xCloud to the Series X blades with hardware. So those are being upgraded. And if you notice, we didn't talk about it earlier when I threw this up on the screen. These little green icons here above each box represent console, PC, and cloud. And if you notice, guys, on this play this year, almost every single one of them, except one, which is Age of Empires on PC, right? But every other single game is coming to console, PC, and cloud at launch.
Insane.
And so, what that tells me, of course, is they're really leaning into that. And so you think about next year and beyond, all of these kind of big games are going to be available on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC browser. That starts to challenge the Switch pretty heavily, in my opinion. As soon as it's seamless, you can play without latency, all the things we've talked about. So
that's the important part. And I still, and as far as that goes, as excited as I am for xCloud, I still see it more so something for like your single player experiences, because let's face it, I'm not playing multiplayer on the cloud. I'm not doing that. That would just annoy the living hell out of me, dealing with that delay and the accuracy and everything else. But just to see what they're trying to do, make it, again, I cannot preach enough. The accessibility that we're getting in this generation is insane. It makes you look across the street at your competitors and be like, what are you offering me? Like, I'm looking at things differently now. You know what I mean? So
no doubt.
Mo's got a point too. I mean, transitioning it into those older consoles is going to be humongous.
Yeah,
I would like to see them work on the console streaming side of things more, or have a where I can play basically any of my games that I own through because I like to play MLB like on my phone sitting downstairs when I'm about to go to bed. I throw a couple games on. It's something that's not super demanding, but I'm still getting, I don't get the best signal. So there's times where it kind of stutters, which is okay. And, for the most part, it's just, I would like to see that ironed out a little bit more. Once that is done, then I can play anything, pretty much anywhere. Fantastic.
Yeah. Fair enough, guys. So let's wrap up with this. We've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the conferences. So let's go. What was for each of you? What was your favorite reveal for the whole week for anything that came out? We'll do some awards here. So favorite reveal.
Man, that's just one game. You mean
one game?
Jesus,
one reveal.
I'm gonna go with Plague Tale just because I wasn't expecting it. I think, and I'll stick with it. Between that and the Sea of Thieves stuff,
I said one, didn't I? God damn it!
Shut up. Between that and the Sea of Thieves thing, I wasn't anything that was unexpected really. So that was probably the top one for me. I guess it was. Also, I mean, we didn't even get to it. The Design Lab stuff. Literally ordered it like 2 minutes.
I mentioned that Design Lab.
2 minutes. As soon as I saw it, I was like, bam! Got my controller coming. It's gonna be awesome. So
cool, damn.
Yeah, I ordered one as well. I got a season gaming one coming.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool to see the passion for Design Labs.
That is true. Yeah,
lots of people designing all kinds of crazy things. It's cool. But go ahead, Rain. Sorry, man.
No, you're good. I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, the whole Design Lab feature has always been dope. Being able to customize your controls or whatever the case. I'm sad because they don't have the Elite options yet. Hopefully, when the Elite Series 3 comes out or whatever the case might be, I will buy that day one, and I will pay $300 to customize that controller exactly how I want it to be. I'm just that wild with it. You know what I mean? But again, I'm also the one that spend $200 for twice for 2 Elite controllers so me and my wife can have one because she's a gamer also. Cool. Again, there's just not a better controller for me personally as far as the Elite Series 2 goes. Even that for me personally, just having so many design options though is great. You know what I mean? Again, Xbox isn't hurting on selling their hardware. You know what I mean? If they can't get the box to you, then they're going to get those controllers to you. You know what I mean? So that's always dope. But just to tie it back into like the standout for E3, and I feel like we might all have the same answers, but it's going to be Halo for me, man. The fact that again, still to this day, it's anytime that Halo was talked about and I'm hearing different people talk about it, it just brings these butterflies to my stomach, and I'm constantly reminiscing on old adventures that I've had within the Halo experience. Now wanting to again, not only because I've read all the books, but now it's like, okay, well, let me listen to all the Audible books now. You know what I mean? So I can make sure to be caught up. Okay, now let me go play all the games on Legendary, so I can really be fully enveloped within the Halo experience again, and make sure that I'm on track as far as what I remember what Halo is to me. They hit everything out of the park for me, exactly what I needed to see. I know a lot of people, again, they try to downplay Halo. And for me personally, I'm going to stand on this hill. It's been a wild hill that I've stood on. But going into January 15th, and I could be completely wrong, and I'll eat the L for this one, but I believe that Halo is going to be the game that gets Xbox to 50 million subs by January 15th of 2022. That's just me.
Okay.
50 million by January of 2022. Okay. Yeah, that's aggressive.
Wild one, but I'm going to stand on that hill.
I would probably agree with you if it was not free. Like, you don't even need Game Pass for Halo. Maybe for the campaign. True. But, they're going to be close regardless, I think, to that number. Yeah. You know.
I think I said, I'm definitely behind. I think I said 35 million by fall, which would be 40.
They can make that. Yeah.
Early 40s. Yeah. So, but 50's aggressive, but hey, I'd love to see it.
I like to stand on that hill, man. You got to step into speculation tower sometimes, right?
The more people invest in it, the better we're going to get out of it.
So, I was just going to say that, Dan. It means we're only going to get better games and better experiences. Yeah. So by all means, make it 80 million.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
By the way, we were talking Design Labs. I literally, sorry for the clicking. I was trying to save this because someone just tagged me on Twitter on it. But this is the kind of stuff I love to see. Let's go.
Yes. Optimus. Yeah. Let's go. I like that.
And it says roll out on it on the red one.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I like that.
But
do you guys remember? You guys remember when there was a meme that Xbox has more controllers than they do have games?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were saying that. Yeah,
They used to say that. But yeah, Design Labs is cool. I still have yet to purchase one, but I might hold off if they do. I'm not holding my breath, but if they do introduce a Series 3 one for Design Labs. As far as my game of show, Halo. Duh.
Man,
I almost got him. Almost got him. And just to do honorable mention, just because I love Limbo and Inside so much, Somerville.
Yeah,
I just don't know what type of experience we're going to get from that game, and I just know that just the feelings that you get when you finish those kind of games is just it's such an incredible journey. Like the ending of Inside, the ending of Little Nightmares, all those kind of games, they're very, very special, and that's a very talented team that they have right there.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting because I don't know the details to your point about the team, right? The co-founder left, started that new company. I don't know who exactly there, the vision, it's going to be interesting to see, but it looks great already. So in terms of my favorite reveal, it's monotonous, I know, but it is Halo. I think Elden Ring's definitely up there because we hadn't seen it before, right? In that vein, and so we got to understand. We kind of know to a degree what's coming with Halo, but just the way it paid homage to guys like us and that huge fan base, both narratively with Chief, like you said, kind of giving us those Halo 4 vibes. It's anything like Halo 4's campaign, I'm going to be over the moon. And then everything, the multiplayer, everything we already talked about. So I think it just has to be. I don't know if anyone in chat has anything unique in terms of their favorite, throw it up there. But it's been a fun show, guys. I think we'll cap off some things here. Chat, please, throw anything up. What was your favorite game of show? And I'll kind of list them out as we're closing up some things here. But we've got we've got some cool stuff coming down the line here. If you missed it earlier this week, I spoke with Dr. Rachel Coward, who is the research director at takethis.org. It was a fantastic conversation, really talking about the benefits of gaming surrounding mental health and escapism and toxicity, all these important topics that, just personally, I believe we as a community should be talking about a lot more, right? Leave the damn fanboy nonsense alone and talk about something real for a change. And, focus on what games can do for us. So if you haven't checked that out, I would really appreciate you checking it out and sharing it because fantastic conversation. And she is a fantastic person. Just awesome to talk to.
That was probably my favorite IP chat you've had so far. She was really, really good.
Yeah, that was super dope, man. Super dope.
Thanks, guys. But we're staying in touch. Her and I told her I'll touch back in with her in the future. And
that's awesome.
So real cool. I've been reviewing this Hex Gaming esports controller. Stay tuned for my video on that one. I've got some thoughts on it. So that's coming this week. I just got a Solaire statue from Dark Souls yesterday in-house, the first 4-figure statue. I'm doing an unboxing of that. That'll be up this week. And then an article on Xbox kind of roadmap, an update to something I wrote previously too. So a lot of content coming this week.
Excellent.
So, guys, been an absolute pleasure having you on. I really appreciate you coming out. So Jordan, I'll start with you, man. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter, Xbox, and PSN at Roguelite PAC. Roguelite being one of my favorite genres, and PAC being that I'm a physician assistant certified.
Hey,
I am also a co-host of the Backlog Chronicles with my friends Mo, Kevin, and Mike, and we do a weekly show every Sunday.
Never heard of them.
I mean, we're kind of reaching. We actually no, excuse me. We just hit our 1-year anniversary. So, but anyways, we do our show every Sundays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm sorry, 5 p.m. Pacific.
I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, that seems late.
That is late. 8 p.m. Eastern.
If you're not checking out Backlog Chronicles, obviously I always talk about them. Mo's in the chat right now. Great show. Great guys. Definitely check it out. It's a good Sunday night chill show to listen to on gaming. Let me get to some of these real quick. We got Fatboy Horror says Horizon 5. Dano with the only correct answer. Halo multiplayer, obviously.
Yeah.
Very true. Walt says Starfield, but Outer Worlds 2 trailer was the best. Yes, it was fantastic. I'm missing, let's see, Jago in the house. Starfield reveal, snippet of Halo Infinite. Yes, of course. No, I'm in the house. Horizon 5. Man, there's a trend here, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we know the ones that kind of stole it. So
I'm over here. Yeah, I like the design lab.
I ordered a controller, guys.
Yeah, I got a controller, dude.
Steel, man, pleasure having you on. Appreciate your perspectives on things, keeping it classy, keeping it real. So thanks for that. It's great to see you growing in the community, my friend. Fun to have you on. Where can people find you?
Look, man, you can find me everywhere. I still reign. The T is a 7. Anywhere there's a search bar in, type that in. You will find me. Xbox, PlayStation, Twitter, wherever you may find you want to find me at. Hit me up in the DMs. Other than that, man, look, you can find me every Friday night, 8 p.m. GRG, where gamers recognize games, over there with an excellent group of guys and lady, by the way, and where we just keep it authentic and whatnot within the community. And then on Saturday mornings, the Living Split Screen podcast, where me and my brother from another, Pong Soul, give you that live, raw, and uncut, authentic, organic energy that I feel like only me and Pong can bring to you as we get you ramped up into your weekend. Again, we're a non-console centric platform where we talk about everything within the gaming universe, and also throw in some personal topics ourselves. We tend to go on rants or whatever. Me and Pong can go easily over 2 hours ourselves, as we're coming to find out. We just love to talk, man. And overall, it's about bringing the passion back into gaming, because I feel like we as gamers don't have enough proper representation for what we truly are. But other than that, man, Ains, in the Bitcast squad, Dan, look, it was fantastic having you guys here, man. Well, you inviting the Reign to be within the Bitcast kingdom, Jordan. It was awesome to meet you. I'm definitely gonna start paying attention to you, man. Talking that Halo talk with y'all, man. I can't wait to be able to jump into that with y'all, man. Again, I'm a multiplayer centric gamer, man, and that's what the hill that I've always will stand on. But other than that, man, much love to everybody. The chat was lit. I appreciate you guys for having me here, and other than that, much love.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, and sounds like we are going to be playing a lot of hours together this fall.
Yes.
So we'll get it in. We've got a hell of a crew for Halo. It's going to be fun times. Yeah,
hell yeah.
Hey, if you guys ever really need it, you might be able to convince me to like meat shield it up for a few matches. I just run out there and then like everybody kills me, but then you see where they are, right? So that's a strategy, right?
Hey, we'll get you nice with the vehicle so you can take the Scorpion when it drops in and just blow everybody up.
Yeah. Somebody give me the indestructible tank.
Then you could at least be our Warthog or Mongoose.
Yeah, probably not. You know, I was just trying to be like a distraction, you know.
I've already put too much responsibility on you. Okay.
It's just running forward. There's still sprint, right? I'll just run forward. I know I would have liked some thrust, whatever that was, and then you know, like everybody be like, "Yeah, I'll get that guy in the middle. He's an idiot," and then you guys just sneak up on everybody else and take him out. You know,
we'll give him the grapple hook, and he can just like literally just shoot like Spider-Man.
I don't even need a gun. There you go. Yeah, that's all I need. I'm good to go, man.
Just make sure the enemy team doesn't get the rocket launcher. That's all I need to do.
There would be so many like suicides on my part just because, not on purpose, like just totally accidental. So it's gonna be terrible.
Hilarious.
All right, guys. Chat, you've been fantastic. Thanks everyone for tuning in as always. Anyone listening to this later, of course, we know you, appreciate you. In fact, again, a big shout out. I just looked at our plays this morning on the audio side. Huge week. From last week's show to the industry perspectives chat, just a huge week of listen. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. And as always, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. So that was Bitcast 159, and we will see you next Saturday. Peace.
Thank you.
Much love.